Gork
New
and
York.
possibly Gork.
What? What?
Yep. The world can
Why
see
are
us
you
now.
saying it like that?
Ooh, we are live? Is that what it
We
is?
are live.
Uh-oh.
I just grabbed
Hey.
I just grabbed like a hair off my tongue as soon as we went live. It's just the perfect opening.
Yeah.
Welcome, campers, to a live cast, our 100th episode. It's going to be a good one, hopefully, at least. But we're here to hang out for at least a couple hours. So feel free to throw some comments, ask some questions. Hey, Sam, it's good to see you in the chat. I think we'll be talking with you later, but...
Spoiler. Spoiler.
Spoiler!
Oh, I forgot this is a live stream. I can actually wink into the camera.
Oh, it will be good. Listeners, it will be good. We'll see. So yeah, we're gonna have some content for you, just some conversations. We had a couple of special guests. We're also doing some giveaways, so do make sure that you are subscribed to our YouTube channel. Follow our podcast if you like. That'd be nice. But also, when we do have the guests on, we'll plug their location. Do make sure to follow or subscribe to their stuff as well. Help us grow. We're all local to Minnesota, so any of you that are listening from our great state, help support more Minnesota stuff. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, we love Minnesota content.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget our remote location. We got Florida Man Dan with us. So.
Yeah.
That's true.
No, he's technically, until he sees more than 3 alligators, he is a Minnesotan.
Oh, there you go. Minnesota by association.
How
Yes.
many are you up to now, Dan?
In the wild, only one.
Yep. It has to be
Alright.
wild. It can't be
Yeah,
zoological.
captivity, very many. So it has to be. Has to be wild.
Yep. We don't give captivity the power to grant you Floridian status, I guess is the best way to put that.
Yeah, by
So
that
how
logic,
long does
I'm
it need to
before
take
Dan.
me to see 3 total before you realize that Florida's not as dangerous as you think it is?
It is as dangerous. It's like a mini Australia. It's just snakes and gators and death. That's all it is.
I don't know about all that.
Mm.
What was
No,
it?
it's snakes, gators, and NASCAR.
I feel like the crackheads are probably
yeah.
a lot worse than the gators down here, but
Are they
That's
also
probably, yeah.
Are they also part of Disneyland?
on the outside, yeah.
In the track.
On the outside.
they're the experience before you get into the park.
It's
Yeah.
like the pre-park. Yeah.
It's designed on purpose that way, so when you get inside, the park looks even better.
Ooh. Anybody out there being like, "Welcome to Jurassic Park" on your way in?
Got any change?
We're gonna get taken down.
Yep, because we said Disney. It's just over. So yeah, check us out at campfiregamingpodcast.com for our website. Here on YouTube, our Twitter is at CampGamePod, and our Instagram is Campfire Gaming Podcast. Join us on Discord for sure. I think the link is in the description here.
All links below.
We're
Yep.
always playing games together. We'd like to include you in on it, too.
Yeah, we will absolutely play games with you. I think we have a few listeners that we've played with, and it's a good time usually. So
Mm-hmm.
you can also give us suggestions for our book club episodes in there as well. So if there's something you want us to play, you can say, "Hey guys, play this game. I want you to try it." I think we did Journey very recently, and that was
Yep.
a listener thing. So it's always fun.
Somebody should recommend Metro Last Light so that we all have to suffer through that.
Suffer. I feel like Chris is already gonna do that to us, so we'll let
Give it
him
time.
have the.
He's
Give
just
it time.
holding it in the pocket.
Yep.
So, yeah.
we'll just
He's
let
like,
him
you know
have
what?
the,
These guys
thing.
pissed me off. It's going to be a Metro month.
It's going to be Chris's
Here.
trilogy of terrors. You're going to play through all.
Right.
Yep. I'll get you guys on all of them.
How many picks have you had, Chris? Have you had 3 picks already?
2, I think.
No, 2. Yeah,
Okay,
just
so we
Control
are-
and Metro.
We are
Mhm.
1 away from the trilogy of terror.
I don't remember who picked a Plague Tale. Was that you, Mike?
It was kind of a vote. Like we put it up
Yeah.
on. Matt put like 4 different things on the list, and we all voted. And I didn't even know what it was. I just voted Plague Tale because it sounded cool, and then I found out it was like destroying puppies. So
Singular.
Some
Mike,
other things,
Mike only
but
played
it
the
was-
first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Just one.
that is not a good opening for.
That
a
was the
game.
whole game right there.
It
We
sets
saw
the
one-
That was
tone.
for me,
One dog death in the game. There was one dog death.
There was,
and it was
yeah.
awful, terrible.
Maybe
I would
you should've
argue-
trained your dog better.
We don't know that the dog died. We
Oh,
never saw proof.
yeah,
That's
that
true.
That was like a blender. How do you not like?
We didn't see it die.
That might have been extras that were already
Yep.
around the dog.
Exactly.
You don't know.
The dog got
Gotcha.
sucked in the hole. That's it.
That's all we know.
Yep.
It was
It's
an
Schrodinger's
off-screen
dog. I mean,
It lived happily as like a mount for the rats. Like they trained it to be like a horse, and they could.
spoilers for Plague Tale 2. Mounted rats.
I hope so. Could you imagine that? Like, Not only do you get like the hurricane of rats or the rat tornado, you get them on dogs.
That's what's happening. That giant tidal wave of rats in the trailer is just going to open up, and there'll be a dog in the middle of it with King Rat on top.
Nice.
Dressed in a Pope outfit.
So in about 15 minutes, we'll get our first guest on here. Faisal from Black Ice will join us. Black Ice is an esports thing. We'll get more into that later. But I do want to ask you guys, what is your favorite thing about podcasting? Now that we've hit the big 100, what is your favorite, thing about this? Anybody can start. Or I could call on names, too, if you put your hands up.
The flexibility. I really like the flexibility of it. We get to, one of the things that we really wanted to turn into a podcast. I mean, the whole, let's go back in time to before we started this podcast and where the idea actually came from. All right, so this was before Chris even existed in podcast land.
Oh, okay.
Or
Before he
Dan.
existed.
Or Dan, yeah, in podcast land. I
Wait,
remember
are we going way back where it was really just you and me eating lunch one day?
We can go back even further, too.
Okay.
Yeah, so, the genesis of the idea of this podcast came from when me and Matt we were working together at the time, and we were just having lunch. We were chit-chatting about how we would love to, at one point, be able to create content so that we could get free passes to E3. Unfortunately, that has not happened yet for obvious reasons, but
I like that this wasn't born out of hey, this would be a really cool idea, and let's.
I mean, it was a.
Let's
we did
provide
think that
something to the
too.
listeners. It's like free E3.
Yeah. How do
Free
We wanted,
E3
but we wanted
stuff.
E3 tickets. Yeah.
Press pass.
But even before that, I mean, the whole idea of this was, a weekly ritual that we used to have, right?
Mhm.
And at least 3 of us did.
Yep.
That ritual being is that we used to work. So myself, Mike, and Matt used to work together, and every Wednesday we would go hang out at Taco Bell, and we would have usually a fairly long lunch, and we would just talk, and we would just we would air our grievances, we would talk games, we would just
There's
shoot
a
the
lot
breeze.
of
We would
a lot
enjoy
of
the
video
fine
games.
cuisine.
enjoy the fine cuisine. Yes.
That was key.
Yeah, it was a blast, and to your point, that's how it started. Well, that's kind of how we decided what our podcast was going to be. Was we never get to
complaining
Taco
about
Bell,
work and then eating Taco Bell. That was our podcast.
Right.
Yeah. We never get at the Taco Bell, but it was all just we would always just go there, and most days we would just talk about video games, and we did. That's kind of how we wanted to model the podcast: just get together with some cool people and talk nerdy shit.
Right. We have some. I mean, we usually had some great conversation when we were at our Taco Bell time, and then, even when you and I had lunch, Matt, we kind of extended that. Every time we went out to lunch, we would end up talking about games and industry stuff and what we like, what we didn't like, and new hardware and all that. We're like, we could just turn this into a podcast. We're just talking about stuff we like.
Yeah.
So I think that's what I enjoy about podcasting, is being able to talk about stuff that I like.
I just like talking nerdy with you guys every week. It's just a blast, especially since we introduced the book club game.
Yeah.
I just think that's so much fun.
Mhm.
Obviously, some games are hit or miss, but it's getting me out of my comfort zone. Undertale was one of those games, and it's fun playing different games and then chatting with you guys about it.
Would you Would you play Undertale again?
I probably would.
Because I beat it. Remember, I beat
To
it.
go.
I
Yeah.
beat it.
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I got the good ending. I actually beat the game. You guys
With
only got
cheat
part of the way
codes.
through.
Cheat codes.
Guides.
He used the Prima strategy guide.
yeah.
We're like 2 bosses.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I looked up a
We're never
guide and
gonna-
went back and replayed the first boss battle. It saved her, so I can't say much.
I straight killed her. That was.
I did, and then found out I could have saved her. I'm like, oh, well, I'll go back. I'm not that far ahead.
So what about you, Mike?
Oh, I get to host most of the time. I get to come on here and just talk, and people listen.
You're a control freak. Yeah, I see.
No, honestly, it's just getting on here and just talking about stuff. I think we've had some really good, funny moments that I miss having, because we had, some of these conversations at Taco Bell. They were some of them got weird, goofy weird, but we got into some things in the episodes here where it made me laugh. Why did we come up with this? How did this come out of this conversation? Exclusively to Nintendo products, but
Yep, Labo
yep.
and Phil Spencer. And
Yep. We won't go too deep into those, but it just some of those jokes and conversation pieces, like that's what I love the most. Is it's usually the amount of laughter that I can get with the group. Like, it's just good. We have a good chemistry. We have a good conversation with each other. So that's it. Being with my friends. That's what it is.
Aww.
Aww.
Not you guys though. There's somebody else here. So.
That's...
The people that are watching, those are the friends you're talking about, right?
Yep.
Oh, that's
Yep.
fair.
All of our listeners.
All 9 of
watchers.
them.
So going into the timeline a little bit, I mean, it wasn't too long after we had started the podcast before Dan joined us too.
It was about.
we were
I
very
think it was
happy to bring
very
Dan
early,
aboard.
but I don't remember when that was.
Yeah,
like
it was
November,
very early.
December. I think it was November, December. So about 3-4 months after we started, I think.
I
Or
think
at least-
having Dan to edit audio was the best thing that happened to us. 'cause
Absolutely.
That was starting to become kind of a burnout piece. It was like my computer stopped running Audacity for whatever reason, so I couldn't help. And Matt was just like, well, I'll just edit everything.
Dude, it was bad. It got to the point where my old MacBook, even though it was still trucking, at least so I thought, it was taking me 2 days to edit a podcast because every time I processed something, it took like an hour to apply it to the program. It was bad. So that was one of the biggest reasons why I have this nice gaming laptop now, is because I need to get something better. There's no way I can keep doing it with this thing.
I think, wasn't it your first time we use Audacity, right? That was your first time using it, and you messaged me and you're like, hey, does every time you make a change it take forever to
Yeah, it had been a
process?
while. I mean, I had the program from previous, but I mean, it had been so long, I didn't know what the deal was with it taking so long, but it was just my computer. But I mean, the thing was I don't know, 10 years old at that point, so I shouldn't complain too much.
But to Mike's point, it was a godsend that Dan showed up, because I definitely was getting burnt out week after week editing, having a blast, but it was a
Well,
good
you
time.
also do the majority of the notes, so you were putting together all the show notes. You were doing all the editing, and I'm just sitting here I played a video game today.
Here's an article. Put it on the notes, Matt.
Any
does
recruiters
happen
out there
a
that
lot.
might
I think
be
we
watching.
still do that, actually. Yeah, we
That's
still
the
do that.
major way we do it.
Yeah. Here's an article, Matt. You can you read that for me and be sure to put that in the show notes?
Pull out the best bits so I can look at it later.
Mm-hmm.
Too long didn't read version.
Yep.
Put the TLDR for you guys.
I read the highlight. I hope you read the rest, because I have no clue.
So we got about 5 minutes left here on this segment, so why don't we get through Chris, Dan? What are your favorite bits about podcasting?
You first, Dan. You've been here longer.
Ooh.
But,
All right.
but he's been
Seniority.
podcasting the lead.
This is
He only
true.
just started podcasting with
Say,
us.
I'm the secret member. Nobody knew I existed
Yeah.
until recently.
No, we
Um,
all knew you existed.
And
You
we
were
shouted you out all the time.
Yeah.
Oh,
they're
I know.
good.
I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
I was
Visually.
You
gonna say,
were-
did you just not listen to it's edited?
I
Did
know.
you see how many titles I gave you on the website?
I know. It was pretty sweet. I was disappointed when I lost it on Discord, but now I'm one of the crew, so it's all good.
You
Nice.
still have it.
But I mean, kind of on what everyone else said, basically. I mean, honestly, I think the community aspect of this is awesome. I mean, it's cool being able to get on with you guys and just talk games and whatever. The Discord server, the people that we have on there now, not that there's a ton outside of our own group, but it's just it's been cool to kind of see where you guys started and where it's gotten to now, and just the small community that's there between you guys and everybody else. It's just awesome. It's just a ton of fun.
Cool.
I'm gonna cry.
I mean, what's the cryiest song we can think of? Is that Arms of an Angel with the puppy
Ooh.
commercial, or
Yeah,
what's
that's
the
pretty
most
much it.
cryy?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to get the Sarah McLachlan song or whatever that was.
I'm not gonna
So,
start
Chris,
singing it here.
You're probably the newest person out of our squad.
And
When
yet
is that?
It's been
what
almost
has
a
that been?
year.
That's true.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah, I think in August.
That's crazy.
that sounds about right.
I thought we had you on in early June. But anyways, yeah,
I
it's
could
been
be
a
wrong.
year.
It was during the pandemic. It all smashed into one big massive
Yeah,
period of time.
It's a blur.
It's just being able to chat video games. I mean, I especially after I moved out of retail, that wasn't really a thing. Apparently professional offices don't tend to talk about video games a whole lot. So,
I think it depends on where you work. 'cause
well, yeah,
That's how us three met.
Yeah.
I'm not going to list
In
the
a professional
names,
office with the three of us.
but I think
Well,
it really hit
professional
home
office.
during the pandemic where I'm like, I'm alone. I want to talk about video games. And then eventually I messaged you, Mike, I think, and I'm like, did you guys hear about this? And you're like, yeah, we talked about it on the podcast. I'm like, oh, well, dang.
I think it was like 3 or 4 of those things that were like, "Hey, have you seen?" I was like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
Do you not listen to us? Thanks, friend."
Yeah, thanks.
And then what's the first time I was on the Apple versus Epic Games?
No.
Was it
We had a
before
few
that?
before that.
No,
Oh,
because
yeah.
that was in the
Yeah.
fall, wasn't it? That's
Yeah.
Oh,
So you came in, Chris, while I was on like a hiatus.
Oh, that's right.
Yep.
Yeah,
Rich
he
is on
was out
vacation.
for work.
Wedding work, like he had a whole bunch of stuff going.
Yeah.
And it was just down to me, Mike, and one of the other guys that was with us. And then me and Mike are like, okay, we can do this ourselves. But and then it's like, oh, hey, Chris, come podcast. And then we liked you, and we said, hey, you want to come on full time?
Doing it.
Yeah.
I'm glad you joined up, Chris, because I remember like one of the first episodes I was editing that you were on. I was going through. I'm like, oh, this guy's good. They should keep him, and then they did.
Yep. I remember
Dan
that's
is
what they
this-
said. That's what they asked me too. They were so Mike and Matt messaged me and they were like, "Hey, like we're thinking about bringing this guy on to like as a permanent member. What do you think about that?" And so I listened to a couple of the episodes that you did. I was like, "Wow, this guy knows his stuff, and he speaks really well." So I was like, "That's actually great." You know, like yeah, that's a great idea. Let's bring him on.
So it's Dan's fault that you have a job with us. I mean, it's not paying, but it's a job because it's work. And it's my fault that we continue to deal with you. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, we love having you here.
We've kind of all adopted him.
It's been a really good, like, we've had a lot of members, right? We've gone from a large crew and then it dwindled down to just a couple, and then we're kind of building back up to having a better base. And I think we've found a good group that's, we're dedicated. We're talking about the same kind of stuff. We all have our own opinions. Nobody's just following somebody else's opinion. And everybody seems pretty engaged, and I think that's something we didn't have early on.
Yeah,
We had a lot of like half engagement, so getting us to here, I think I'm really happy with the crew that we have. So,
Same.
all jokes aside,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's turned
you
out
guys
really
are
well.
okay. You guys are all right.
so just a couple of minutes left here until we get Black Ice. What is, if anyone wants to throw it out there, what is the worst thing about podcasting? And then we'll do a bit of a giveaway here if we got some people who are interested.
Honestly, the worst thing is talking with you guys every week. I don't know how I deal with it.
You're a saint. That's how.
I wish this was in person. That's the only thing I really don't like about this right now.
It used to be.
I know.
Yeah. Then that pandemic thing
I mean,
happened.
I'm glad we're able to make it work via distance, but
The worst thing, we haven't had this happen in a while, so knock on my desk here. I think it's made of real wood. It might not be. Who knows? But we've had some technical difficulties through our time. So there are some, very few, but there's some good episodes out there that were lost due to either Craigbot or some
That was
weird
so-
audio issue with Zencaster, But yeah, that was probably the...
Losing an entire episode is the worst thing ever.
It is. Yeah.
I forget there was one episode where it was like we had just a really good conversation and we're like, oh yeah, that's gonna be a good episode. And then I went to check the files and they weren't there. I'm like, that was I think when we were using Craigbot.
Yeah, I remember all the nightmares with Craig.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, that was rough.
Craig was interesting.
Hey, it was free and it worked until we found Zencaster. But
Right. It led us to greener pastures anyway, so
mhm.
Zencaster's been pretty good to us.
Yep. So I think that was the worst, is the occasional time where we've lost an episode here or there and had to re-record or just go a week without one.
Alrighty. So before we get a special guest in, Chris, let me know when they are joined. There's this guy. Oh my gosh, my green screen is not going to let me have it. A Steam gift card. Steam gift card. 20 whole dollars. If you are interested in winning a $20 Steam gift card, throw the word Steam in capital letters in the chat, and we'll reach out to you some way, shape, or form.
Is it the first person to do it or everybody?
Nope, it's going to be
Nope, it's
everybody
everybody.
randomize
we'll
it.
randomize it.
Oh, okay.
Anybody. $20 in Steam gift cards.
So if you want a $20 Steam gift card, type in all caps STEAM, and you could be the lucky winner of Steam $20 in Steam cash.
We should probably say, since this is going to be up on the internet for a while, if you come to this later, I'm sorry. It's not going to be live.
This is a
anymore.
live.
Yeah, this is true.
The
The
people
giveaways,
that are here.
Yeah.
the giveaways are live.
If you're listening to this podcast on a different platform,
Also
watch our
true.
live stuff too.
In the future, we'll probably do stuff like this more often.
Now,
I'll
just
say
so
it.
that people know, is this limited to subscribers or just people in the chat right now? Like, is there a criteria to make?
So it would be nice if you subscribe, but it looks like our internet machine that was going to do the randomizer isn't checking for subscriptions. So it doesn't matter as long as you put your word Steam in there. You'll get it.
And we'll take
So-
down the name
But-
and then randomize and pick someone. Is that-
But please subscribe anyway if you're not. Just
Oh,
hit that
absolutely.
button while you're hanging out. Give us some thumbs up.
We need some numbers. The YouTube algorithm doesn't help us at all, so we need you to help us instead.
Numbers.
How long are we going to give them? Like 2 minutes?
Yeah, we're going to give until Faisal gets on.
Cool.
Am I gonna win?
Matt's going to win. Steam, he spells it wrong too.
Yeah, just like what Sam said, it would be poggers if you
Yes.
if you
Damn
subbed.
STEM. And yes, any listener or viewer can jump in on this, Sam. You don't have to. Just because you might be on the show doesn't mean that you can't possibly win.
The only
some
people who
stuff.
can't win are the 5 people in this current
This is
call.
true.
Mm-hmm.
Now you tell me.
Sorry, man.
I mean, if you could spell, maybe we'd have a better chance. But
It's true.
it also doesn't help that Matt very clearly shows up as a moderator in chat.
it's true.
He's trying to rig the system. Come on, people. You can get, like, Phasmophobia for free and come hunt ghosts with
Come
us.
play with us.
That's true.
Hell,
That
let
is a
loose.
game that I just don't understand still.
You got to play it more, man. You've
Well,
only done it, like, what, once or twice?
I've
what
played
don't
like
you understand?
Okay, no, I understand the game. I just don't understand the appeal to it yet. I guess. It's like, I don't know. You go into a haunted house and then you look at ghosts and then you leave. Like, there's no real, like, cool. I took a picture of this poltergeist. It looks kind of creepy, but then it left me alone. Like, when you guys locked me in that room and I thought it was going to come get me, it opened the door, looked at me and says, "Oh, you're not worth my time," and like left. And I was like, "Oh, well, I could just leave then. This is fine." Like, I don't know. It's I wish it was a little more to do, right? Like, once
I mean-
like you can hunt the goat or the goat.
The goat.
I think we
That's a
were
different
talking.
game.
I think we were talking yesterday about it a little bit. That some of the people that we've played with, they can do this. I think Chris, you mentioned clinically is the word, and they can just power through something,
Yeah.
right?
There's a couple of streamers especially.
It's
I'm gonna-
not
yeah.
about the gameplay. It's about the friends and memories you make along the way.
Well,
Mike.
There you go.
and they've updated it a lot since then. To add some more complicated tasks to it. Like, I would love to see Mike get in there to if he can avoid a ghost hunt or flee a ghost hunt. But
Yeah, Mike.
I could definitely see your perspective. It's just
Yeah.
So, Chris,
to
your
find the
link,
right environment.
your link is apparently not working for Faisal.
What?
Let me.
What?
I'm just gonna jump in to take our. You have a like private code on it or anything?
no. I mean, nothing more private than what I gave you guys. Bear with us here.
And again, this is still going, I think. So if you are just joining us now, we are currently giving away a $20 Steam gift card. If you would like to participate in the drawing for the Steam gift card, be sure to type Steam in all caps in the chat.
Yeah, just take the one from I dropped in our Slack, and it should just work.
Yeah, I just sent one. We'll see.
Okay. That's really weird.
So it was
Or-
at 10:20. So hopefully he's not too annoyed with me. And then it's because I have my phone
we
on
got
charger.
another
I
one.
didn't have a thing.
Oh,
But
sad.
ooh,
G Slayer.
Yeah, that's my homie right
steamed
there.
hams.
Nice.
Okay.
He's been I know he's one of the listeners that's been with us for like a really long time.
Nice.
Sure.
OG.
Oh, there we go.
There we
You guys
go.
ready?
Dan, pick somebody. You can just you can Slack me the winner, and then we'll reach out to him.
Oh, the random thing's not working.
Yep. Nope, apparently not. So you can pick someone. Go.
All right.
Other than Matt, because he can't spell.
What?
Other than Matt for a lot of reasons.
Chris, you want to bring in Faisal?
He's here.
He is here.
I don't see him. Is there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey.
Welcome. How are you?
I'm good. Good morning. Happy Sunday.
Yeah, indeed. It's been a while. It's good to hear your voice again.
Yeah, I know it's been a while. Good to see you all here.
Likewise.
Yeah, definitely. So just gonna give a quick overview of Black Ice. Faisal, I ganked this right from your website, so it's just gonna be an abridged edition of your About Us, and then we'll get into some conversation. Sound good?
Sounds good to me.
Cool. So founded in 2019, Black Ice is a private social gaming club and a professional esports team. Our social clubs are an opportunity for passionate gamers to play, meet new people, hang out, and connect with friends in a fun, highly energetic private club environment. Black Ice also offers the opportunity for highly skilled gamers to try out and compete with the Black Ice Elite, our professional esports team. Black Ice Elite competes in high-level tournaments around the globe. So welcome, Faisal. So I've got a quick question for you here. Did you win yesterday in Mario Kart?
I did not, unfortunately. I'm not skilled at that game. I was just making up the numbers for the tournament. So
Who did you drive as? Were you Wario?
I was, but I was
it didn't
slow
work.
as hell.
Bummer. Okay.
I didn't know you could drift and slide across the corners until the tournament ended.
Oh, that's great. Did you guys do Mario Kart 8 or was it?
Yeah,
This,
Mario Kart 8
okay,
on the Switch, yeah.
gotcha. I was gonna say they've also got the Super Nintendo one on there if you've got the Nintendo Online. So it might be cool to do like a classic throwback tournament. Go back to the old school Super Mario Kart.
Yeah,
Fun.
that's a great idea. We might end up doing that. We do have another one coming up soon, next month.
Okay.
So hopefully I'll tell the organizers to do something about it. Maybe I'll have a better shot at that.
Sure. Yeah, so keep an eye on the Black Ice website, possibly blackice.gg. Will that have your tournament information there, or was the best
Yes.
place to find?
Yes, and also socials as well. We've been trying to expand our channels of communication with our followers, so other event websites will slowly get populated as we figure out which ones are the best ones for us.
Nice. Really quick, congratulations on your Call of Duty win. That's pretty cool to see the Black Ice team come away with a Call of Duty tournament win.
Yeah, it was nice to see because they've been practicing for a while. They were a little skeptical about joining tournaments, but recently it's been a lot better. They're more open to joining tournaments instead of practicing too much because competitive edge only gets
Yep.
you to a certain point from practice. So I think it's great to see them compete and finally get a bag of win.
Yeah, that's definitely cool to see like your own team jumping into something and being like, hey, we actually walked away with the win. You get that confidence, like you're saying, it really helps them, want to join more tournaments when they do finally get into one. And the experience of playing against people that you've never really gone against or, other coordinated teams, that's really how you improve your skills beyond that, just practicing level. So super cool. You've also got a new location. We met and did an episode in your old location, but now you are at a new place in Minneapolis, I believe. How is it
Yes.
working out? How do you like it?
It's been fun. Just been a bit difficult to shift our floor plan, restart basically. Other than that, I think we have a great team. Shout out to the Black Ice staff team and the corporate team. They've been really helpful and coordinating and communicating and just pulling it together. We've spent almost a year making sure that everything's working according to a floor plan, and then hosting a few events here and there helped us test our waters and make sure that everything's working and not blowing up while we're at it, because there's a lot of things going on at the same time.
Yeah.
And this is a much smaller space, So it's more compact, more cozy, I feel like, compared to the other space. But we're looking forward to have more people over and grow as a community. So I'm looking forward to it. So far, so good.
Yeah, because that was I mean, you must have a hell of a staff because when we did the interview with you at the Black Ice location, the first one, I mean, this was like what, like just weeks before we went on full lockdown. I mean,
Yeah.
how did that? What was the reaction to that?
It was pretty insane thinking back now. When you guys showed up, we were literally a week away from starting. So we were almost done setting up. And a week later, we were done setting up. And then the lockdown happened. And also the George Floyd murder on Lake Street. So we were kind of had a huge setback from a business perspective.
Right.
So we evacuated everything on a Sunday. 2 hours took us to take everything apart that we put 7 months into, and go into storage and kind of rebound from there, find another location. And the staff was a little upset, I guess, but it happens. We have to keep looking ahead, keep telling them that, and yeah, they pulled it off again, and here we are again.
Right. Well, I mean, that's exciting, and that's both exciting and I think inspiring too, because you guys just, like it could have been easy to just been like, well, guess we're done, like that's just the way it is. But no, you guys were like, no, we want to make this work. This is a great idea. We want to keep this going. And I think that's awesome. That's admirable.
Yeah, thank you. It really helps having the investors group that have been with us from the start and supporting us, and they're in it for the long game. They're not in it to make short-term profits. They're here to build the community and the business. So that really helped to have the big picture goal of the infinite game, I guess, and being able to sustain a plan and a budget at the same time. So I think we're looking ahead to clearer skies, I hope.
I think so. Yeah.
We'll see where it takes us from here. Just looking ahead at this point.
Yeah, I can't imagine the devastation after losing that first location. I remember talking to you, at work at the time about, what you guys were trying to put together and really get an understanding for that. You could tell that there's a lot of passion in what you're doing, so it's really cool to see
Very
that
true.
passion continue and push forward. So amazing. Question for you about your memberships. What do you have for membership types, availability? What does that look like?
Sure. So right now we're running a promotion until the grand open. We're open Thursday through Sunday, pretty late till 10 to midnight, depending on the day. Memberships are running at $30 a month, which is super sweet, I think, compared to what the listed pricing is, around $50 to $70, depending on you get the founders or just a monthly membership. Because founders editions are limited to the first 20 people, but then we have a promotion running for $30 a month, so it might run up to 100 people that may sign up for a monthly membership, and that gives them access to all the tournaments and access to the gaming space, and also coaches and players that are out there training that they can also meet and learn from. And then we do have day passes too.
Okay.
Those are a little hefty, so we're gearing towards folks to be part of the community as a member, which will help us grow and also help people meet other people and build the community together.
Yeah, the space that you had, I haven't seen I've seen only pictures of the new one, but having that space, just the amount of social interaction that I'm hopeful to see there is going to be great. Like, there are so many different things you can do there. You've got consoles, you've got do you still have the driving machine set up? Like
Yeah, we do
Yeah.
have the.
So there's
Yeah,
some
we do.
really cool stuff that you can go do. Like, I have a few times wanted to be like, let's just go up and get like a LAN party going or something and have a whole group up there.
Absolutely, we'd love to have you.
It'd be a ton of fun. So as you're looking at the esports side of things with the Black Ice team, I'm kind of interested on where you want to go with that. As far as is it just kind of Call of Duty right now to start with, or are you building up teams for other leagues, things like that?
Yeah, so few things. So from a team perspective, we do have other players that are in the team that are not as highlighted because of the COVID situation. There's not been a lot of live events, so we do have a FIFA player that competes. So he's been competing mostly online. There's some fighting games like Tekken, Dragon Ball Fighters, Street Fighter Five. We lost the player; he left us because for with mutual reasons. And then we also have Tekken 7. And then the biggest thing is the Dota team that we have. They're in tier 3 right now.
Nice.
We didn't qualify last year, but we're still planning to keep the same team going since they've been training together for so long.
Sure.
So that's like our biggest team so far. And Call of Duty is something that we're still building locally. So it will take some time, I think.
Okay.
Long term, we're still thinking about expanding our team, but just depends on the opportunity that lies in front of us, right? So scouting and making sure it's a team that aligns with our vision, the short and the long term. Yeah.
As far as scouting goes, are you looking into any of the varsity leagues that are going on, like Minnesota high schools lately?
We haven't really had the chance yet. We've been hyper focused on getting the space up and running.
Oh, yeah, I suppose.
But we do plan to visit all the local events and online tournaments, making sure that we're keeping our eyes open. So that's the plan in the next few months here, post Grand Open.
Right on.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. I mean, we just ended up watching not too long ago the Minnesota Varsity League for Overwatch, and there's some incredible talent that's coming out of. I mean, like some of these high schools got some amazing players for some of the games that they play. It'd be definitely a good pool to pick from.
Yeah, super excited to see where all that ends up going. And we do have to get another group of us down there to go play some games or jump into some of these tournaments. Let's say I was a hopeful and I was like, I'm gonna play for a Black Ice team. What's the process, or what does that look like for doing tryouts?
I would say the first step is becoming a member. If you're close by to Minneapolis, and then we're also working on our online platform where folks can join online and join the community. So that would be the first step for any Black Ice member to be able to join as a member. And then you can share with us your vision of what you want to do, if you want to join a team or if you just want to play casually. So we'll make sure that you're working with the right folks. And if you're good enough, you might throw off one of our top players out of the team and bench them.
Right on.
Yeah.
So with setting all this up, do you still have time to play games yourself? You still get out to any FIFA events, or is that just dead for you now?
Unfortunately, yes. I do miss my video games a lot, but I'm just happy I'm able to provide an experience for others where everyone can come together. So that's more rewarding for me, but I'm sure I'll have some time to play once this is up and running, as we delegate some of the work and everything's up and running on its own. So once it's autonomous, I guess, at some point, I'll be able to go there and play some games.
Nice.
But we do have a FIFA tournament today, so I plan to attend. So I might compete just for fun, even though I used to be competitive, but I'm not anymore. But I might just join just for fun and just mess around with people.
So do you stream your tournaments? Like, can we watch that online at all, or is it?
Yes, we are on Twitch. It's called Black Ice Club. At Twitch, so anyone can search our username as Black Ice Club, and they should be able to find us while we're live during our events.
Perfect.
And we're putting together a team that will help with the presentation, just commentary, and then also asking questions to the players and interviewing them. So we're still working on the production side of things.
Well, if you ever need a guest host to come in and ruin everything you're trying to do, let me know. We'll send Rich over there to do
Absolutely.
some esports coverage.
Esports coverage, yeah.
We'd love to have you over there.
I think Matt's gonna try out for the Halo team when that happens.
For sure.
But much like Faisal, those days are far behind me now. So.
Speaking of Halo, are there any games that you guys have got your eyes on that are coming out that we haven't really seen much of the esports world yet. I know like Splatoon's got a decent sized thing going. So there's like Splatoon 3, there's Halo, and probably a myriad of other games that I don't know.
I think one of the new games that are not franchised is Valorant. I think I don't know how to say it yet. I feel like I haven't really played it at all. But I keep hearing that name, and that's one of the games that we want to get into, but we haven't really had insight into a team yet. So I think that's one of the teams that we're looking to expand for sure the next 6 months here. But yeah, nothing else at the moment, but we do try to keep our eyes open to see what's out there.
Yeah, we did a whole episode on Valorant, I think. We did, or at least a chunk of an episode on it.
No, we
That's
haven't.
Interesting.
We haven't done Valorant yet. That's
What was
Riot's game.
Well,
You're
I
talking-
remember you guys talking about like the security stuff that was
Yeah,
built into
the
that thing.
anti-cheat stuff that was built
Yeah.
in. So I
Yeah.
thought we talked about it. I don't
We
know if
did at
anybody's
one point.
played it, but
I haven't played it in a long time, but I have played it.
There you go. Start a team with Faisal.
Yeah. Reach out, let them know, hey, I'm your guy for Valorant, or girl, whichever. Nice. Well, we are just about out of time here, Faisal. Thank you for joining us and hanging out. I know we had some issues with the link, so we got to start a little bit late. But it's always
Absolutely.
good to have you on and good to see what's going on. Anything you want to plug while you're here, quick?
Yeah, so our grand open is September 24th to 26th. It's a 3-day event, so it's going to be full of tournaments and festivities, music, live music, after party. So,
That's cool.
yeah, I would say check out our website and our schedule and come through.
Yeah, it's a great idea. I really like what you guys are putting together there. So go check out blackice.gg to go see a little bit about them, find their location, stop by for the grand opening. It should be a blast. Are you gonna have karaoke on the opening or not so much?
We can. It'll be pretty open when we have our events done. So I think folks can do whatever they wanted.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
Cool. Well, we'll definitely try and get the Campfire Crew over there for the opening.
sounds great. I appreciate you all having me here, and keep up the great work. I love your stuff.
Well,
Thanks
thank
a lot.
you.
Thanks, Faisal.
Thank you.
So as we're saying goodbye to Faisal here, we've got a bit of a giveaway from the Black Ice group. There is a hoodie up for grabs that I will mail out to whoever puts in Black Ice into the chat. We'll grab another random person here. Faisal, thank you for joining us. It's great to hear from you again. Hope to see you in person real soon.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Have a great day.
See ya.
Yeah, you too, man.
Thank you, Faisal.
Okay.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Did we want to announce who won the Steam gift card?
Yeah, so the first person per our randomizer, I guess Chris actually got one working. Good job, Chris. G Slayer, I believe, is the winner. So
Oh yeah, is it
Yep.
Black Ice one word or Black Ice two words?
it's just it doesn't matter. Oh, I suppose it does matter because we're putting
Does
into
matter.
the red. One word, just big bold one word, Black Ice. So G Slayer, if you can jump on our Discord or
Message one of us. Yeah.
or our Twitter and message one of us and say, hey, I am this person. I got the Steam gift card. We'll send you a code.
Be sure to tell us I am the G Slayer.
Yeah, it's got to be like, give us a good, fun message.
Yeah. And then we will send you out your $20 Steam gift card. Congratulations.
Yeah, well done.
Can we
good
get
luck.
like a really cool air horn for the win? Thanks, Rich.
There you go.
We'll get a soundboard one of these days. It's gonna be fantastic.
I was
Yeah, I'll
just
get mine
thinking
hooked
that
up
same
with the
thing.
little. I got little pads.
Yeah, but we
Nice.
got to make sure that it's me doing the air horn.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
If
yeah,
it
no,
be a
that's what
real
we need.
one. It's got to be Rich's
Yeah.
air horn for sure.
yeah.
We'll
No,
get
Did
it
you-
hooked up to a button.
Rich, did you hear us trying to imitate your air horn on the other episode?
I don't know. I didn't listen to that one.
Don't. It went really
Yeah.
poorly.
Oh, now I have to. Now I want to.
we couldn't quite match that, so it is what it is. So yeah, we got the Black Ice giveaway going here now. Next question for you, Gentle Feathers. Book club episodes. What is your favorite game we've played so far, and what is your worst pick award?
Oh, that one's gonna
That's
be an
mean.
easy one.
That's mean.
Everybody's favorite's obviously Metro, right?
I feel like Dan just gave
100%.
his worst pick, but we'll go around the room. We'll start with
Do we
Matt
need a
here.
refresher on the games we've played?
Do we have a list? That would be super
I
cool.
do,
because
I do.
did not.
I
But
have
are-
it
are
right
we-
here. I
are we
know
gonna-
all the games that we played,
I'm trying
Are
to
we
think.
going
and in
to-
order too.
Are we
I'm
going to
that
count?
Rich,
the-
can you sing a song and name the games in order?
Well, I don't know if I could sing a song, but I could name the games in order.
Are we going to count the 2 we did last year? We could even say
Yes.
3,
Are
depending.
we
on
talking?
how...
Are we going all the way back to like Hellblade, or are we thinking?
That's what
not everybody here
I'm
was-
wondering what the question.
We'll
like,
yeah,
start
I
with
think-
like when we
No, no.
donned the book club.
I think we can go all the way back. I mean, the first book club was Resident Evil, right? But we
Okay.
can go all the way
Yes.
back. If you want to say Hellblade, you can say Hellblade. Like, it's fine. But we'll start with you, Matt.
Oh, me? Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I would like to put a special shout out to Hellblade. That wasn't a book club episode, but it kind of technically was our first adventure into that type of episode.
I mean, if you really wanted to get specific, you could say Gears of War 5 was technically that
Oh.
one too.
Yeah.
Because that was like the first game that you guys, as a group, played and reviewed.
Yep. And had my 15-minute intro. Yeah.
It was like episode 3 or something like that.
Something like that.
It was pretty
Yeah.
early on.
Yeah,
But
that was good.
so okay. Well, see, this isn't fair because we picked one of my favorite games of all time. So I'll leave Sunset Overdrive out of the running. I'd have to go with either, strangely enough, Undertale or Biohazard, because those were the first time playing those type of games for me. So it was kind of a fun experience.
Was that your first Resident Evil?
That's my first Resident Evil.
Wow.
I had a lot of fun with that one. I think just for the surprise factor, I'm going to go to Undertale, because to me, that's a game I'd never in a million years would have played, and I was surprised how much I enjoyed it. And I didn't hate this game, but just because, as I've said, go listen to the episode. This isn't a stab at you, Chris, or anything, but Metro was probably more disappointing than like the worst game, because I'd heard it was a great game for years and years and really wanted to play it. And it didn't live up to the expectations I had for it. I wouldn't say it was an awful game, but I think from expectations, I thought it was going to be better. So yeah, there's my 2 picks: Undertale and Metro.
Let's go next.
You want to go, Chris or Dan?
I'm
mean,
gonna
I'll-
let all of you guys bash the game I picked first, and then I'll finally go.
All right, so I'll go next then. So the game that I liked the most that we did, just because, like, I think I wanted to select this game as the game I liked the most, mainly because it was one of those games that really proved that I could play that I wanted to play something outside of my element and really enjoy myself. And I think that was probably A Plague Tale. It was like, when you picked it, I was worried that I was going to get so bored with that game, but it was just the exact opposite. I thought it was beautiful, had a beautiful score, great story, great characters. The dialogue was but it was like, overall, it was it was a really, really good pick. And I think that was probably one of my favorites to this day so far. And so I think I'd go with A Plague Tale as my favorite. But I would also say, as my least favorite, just because I don't want to shit on Chris too much, I'm just going to pick Sunset Overdrive as my least favorite, just to spite Matt. Even though I thought the game was fine.
I want to give
Yeah.
a thumbs up to your Rat Tornado pick.
The rat tornadoes? Yeah, I like the rat tornadoes.
Chris, you go.
All right.
Come on, right in the sandwich between us all.
I will say my favorite pick is also going to be A Plague Tale, just because it's easily a game I would have just skipped if it wasn't for the book club. Undertale had always kind of been on my radar. I just never made time for it, so I enjoyed it. But man, A Plague Tale was great. I loved every second of it. And for worse, that one's tougher for me because I've generally enjoyed everything we've played so far. I'm gonna attack myself on this one. Just because it's a game I have played numerous times in the past, it would be Metro, because it really was just me kind of, I will honestly say, being kind of lazy in the pick and hoping to get more people to play it more than I was playing it for myself because I've beaten it like 4 times before.
So you set us up.
Yeah,
You
more or
knew
less,
how
yeah.
bad it was. You're like,
See,
You can't complain
well,
anymore.
I
Yep,
had
nope.
He liked it though.
yeah, I was gonna say I had fonder memories of it. It's
he
kinda
liked
my
Metro,
style.
or he liked us pooping on it.
it could
Guess-
be,
well,
it could be multiple
Metro.
things.
Both.
Yeah, it could be both.
Nice.
Well, unfortunately, I did not manage to play through all of the games that have been offered up to this point since I got in here. But honestly, I got to go with Undertale as far as the best one because I never, ever would have picked that game at all. But other than some frustrating like restarts because of dying over something stupid somewhere, it was actually really cool. And it was much better than I thought it was going to be. And it was definitely out of the realm of anything I ever would have touched. But I don't really have a worst pick. But to go with the trend, I'm going to say Metro. And the only reason I'm going to say that is because I remembered playing a demo of it years ago. And then I started getting into it when it was a book club episode here. And I mean, I wasn't that impressed with it either time. I mean, I still want to give it the whole thing and finish it off eventually. But there wasn't anything that really kind of sucked me into it and was like, oh, I really want to see where this goes. There was just something that, I don't know, just didn't pull me in very much. So that's the only reason I'm going to say that. But that's not an entirely negative review because I obviously didn't finish it, so my mind could change at a different
Sure.
point.
Well, again, I don't think my review was negative on it either. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean we talk like we were like really dumped on the game and we really hated it, but it was okay. It was just weird.
I think it
it-
suffered from the fact that we had to rush through it.
well,
That too.
it just didn't age well. I think was the thing. It's
Oh,
like,
that's
that's definitely
Yes.
true.
Well,
I think-
I'll actually talk similar theme on our next book club when we record that. But
We're not talking about that yet.
I think
Which
that
is Destroy All Humans, by the way.
Yes.
So you have a week to play through Destroy All Humans.
Then you can
those of you
listen
who
to
are
us
listening, and then we can
talk
get in
along.
on you can talk with us on our Discord. Just wanted to throw that out there.
I do think that the fact that I rushed through Metro made it better. Because if I was like really taking my time with it, I probably would have had more to be like, yeah, I wasn't a fan of this. Especially, dying at the, closer to the end and being on a death loop because of the save issue.
Oh, yeah.
Like that was a huge piece, but that's actually not my like worst pick in my opinion. I would say Undertale, just because it was so goofy, is kind of my favorite so far. It was, it was my pick, but at the same time, it wasn't. It was something I always wanted to try. It was like I don't want to play it at the same time because it looks boring. Like it could be really fun, but it looks boring. It turned out to be just this fun, fantastic adventure. But it was Control for me. It was kind of the worst one. Sorry, Chris, another Chris game, but it was
I love that game.
the gameplay was fine. The map design killed it.
Sure.
I hated
Yeah.
navigation in that game so much because it's like bad signage in a mall, right? You're just like,
Yeah.
where am I going? Like, this says to go to this way. That said, I just came from there and it says to go to that. What, like, you turn around and it's telling you to go the opposite way for the same place. I'm like, what the
Yep.
hell is this place? So it just, that alone turned me off from the game to where I didn't want to complete it. But yeah, so that's my picks.
that game took me about halfway through to really start enjoying it, and that's when I started getting my like Jedi superpowers of flying and chucking things. But and I agree with you, Mike. The trying to get around my map, if you remember, my map there was always a bug that it wouldn't load up. The map wasn't the greatest in the first place, but there were times where I'm like, okay, how do I get here? And I'd pull up the map
Right,
screen and
right.
it wouldn't load the map. Like the screen would come up, but the image wouldn't. But I think that one, we've talked about this a few times. I think some of these games do suffer a little bit because we do play it in a month. I think I would have enjoyed Control a little bit more if I wasn't squeezing it into a month.
Mhm.
But I also didn't hate the game. Again, I enjoyed it once I started feeling like a Jedi, and then I had a ton of fun with it. It was just, yeah, it's a little rough to get started. And the map bug sucked.
I just
Yeah.
Once we got to the music video, I just immediately lost. Like, I don't care anymore. This is now officially the greatest game ever made.
I like the I forget the name of it, the big vault, and they were all side missions, but you went to those different
Yeah, the
forgetting-
Panopticon.
yeah, and like the stoplight, and and watching that dude stare at the refrigerator all day, things like that were just then it started getting fun. Yeah, or the killer rubber duck or whatever.
I have to agree with Anthony in our chat that Control does make you kind of want to be a Finnish janitor.
Eh,
That dude had power.
he had a nice Walkman.
Did have a nice walk.
That's why I didn't trust him. I didn't trust
Because of
because
the
you meet him right at the start. The building is starting to be all weird and funky, and then you talk to this janitor. I'm like, okay, it makes sense. Janitor after hours cleaning, whatever. And he had a Walkman, and I'm like, something's a little shady.
I thought he
about
was the
this
bad guy right off the bat. So
I just didn't trust him. I didn't think he was the bad guy. I was just like, yeah, I got my eyes on you.
Honestly,
Rich.
I think like one of the most memorable things about the book club, at least for me, was Metaton from Undertale. That was like my favorite boss fight in like every game that we've played so far. From Undertale, you know. Do you remember what that one is with the TV show and
Yeah.
you're fighting the robot Metaton?
Go through the cooking show, and then the
And you have to get the TV ratings.
yeah.
Like I was jamming out that whole time, you know. I was just jamming out that whole time I was fighting that boss. I didn't even care that I died like 6,000 times to him. I was just like, yeah, this is great. I'm enjoying myself.
We've picked a lot of games that have some really good soundtracks.
I think so too, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Oh, yeah.
Undertale, or not Undertale, Plague Tale. Plague Tale just had a absolutely awesome soundtrack.
I enjoyed Undertale, had a good one. Sunset Overdrive had a good one.
Oh yeah.
It was fine.
Yeah, I mean, it was forgettable, I think. I don't know.
Ah, come on, that was like Tony Hawk level. Not as many big names, but good mix.
I do
Yeah.
agree, Sam. The music in Undertale was excellente.
It was really good.
Excellent day.
So it looks like we've got
So
a
good.
winner for the hoodie. I'll let Chris announce.
Yep. I apologize. I'm incredibly horrible with names, but that's just the way my stupid brain works. But we have Elaney is our winner.
For
according
the
to
Black
randomizer.
Ice hoodie.
Or the Black Ice hoodie.
Yes.
Yep.
Congratulations to Elaney, if that's how it is pronounced.
Alrighty. Before we jump on with the World Forge podcast, I'm not sure if it's going to be the whole cast, but that would be great. I know we got Sam here at least, hopping in shortly, hopefully. We sent you the link because the last one apparently wasn't working for Faisal, so we got you going with a new one. Yeah.
Oh, good. I said it right. Perfect.
Woohoo!
We've got one more giveaway. It's a Phil Spencer special.
Yeah.
Here. We have
Oh, right. Okay. Yep. Sorry. My mind goes someplace else now.
with Phil Spencer.
Yep.
Yeah, so basically we have an Xbox Game Pass gift card for 3 months. So if you are interested and you have an Xbox and you would like
Or
to
PC.
win that, throw in Phil Spencer in the chat and we'll get to that.
1 word or 2 words?
3 words.
You gotta
Alright,
figure
well-
out his middle name.
Ooh, if you can figure out his middle name, maybe you'll just get it. I don't know.
I wonder
That's
if that's even
that's
just.
tricky. Is it Googleable?
I don't know.
It's not. I don't think it's in his wiki.
That's also just gonna go look.
I'm
And I
not.
don't know.
suppose, well, yeah, let's just keep it easy then. Let's just 2 words.
Yeah.
Yeah, just Phil space Spencer, all caps. So
Yep.
if you want to win a game, and how many months of Game Pass?
3 months.
3 months.
3 months Game Pass gift card. Throw Phil Spencer. Come on, don't get my background. Oh, okay, we'll just have my tent in the background there too. But whatever, Game Pass. So that is, it's not Dumbledore. It's not Phil Dumbledore Spencer.
It's Craig. Come on.
It's
It's Craig.
it's obviously his gamer tag, Phil P3 Spencer.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that makes so much more sense now.
He's a rapper on
uh,
the side.
So, Eleni, if you want to jump over to our Discord or our Twitter, I think the links are in the YouTube page here. Send us a message. We'll get back to you on the hoodie and get that out your way.
All right.
Microsoft, if you're listening, you need a sponsor.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've been trying. We've been wanting that Game Pass sponsorship, like basically since the podcast began.
We've been begging. Yeah.
It's been
We've been
unofficial
begging for that.
sponsorships. Needs
Right.
to be real.
We're all massive
We're like-
fans. and
We were advocates of Game Pass before it was cool on Twitter.
Yeah.
That's true. It's every deal.
But yeah, so
I think we say
you
it in
want
every episode.
3 months of Game Pass. Be sure to type Phil space Spencer in all caps in the
Phil.
chat.
And remember, you don't have to have an Xbox. There's also PC games
there's-
on there.
Yes,
as well.
It is-
it is
yeah.
Oh, I
ultimate.
forgot all about that.
Don't
Right.
limit
It is
yourself.
Game
It is the
Pass
ultimate,
Ultimate.
yep.
Yes.
Yep. It is Game Pass Ultimate so that you can play all your favorite things like, Halo the Master Chief Collection, Sea of Thieves,
Mhm.
half of our book club games. Like, you can play all
And to
those.
throw it out there, correct me if I'm wrong, but the xCloud or whatever name they went with is also included with Game Pass now, correct?
It is included with Game Pass Ultimate.
So technically, you can play some games on your phone, right?
Yeah. Does everybody
got
have
the
a
internet.
phone?
So,
I mean, I would hope so.
yeah, it's for Diablo, silly.
Yeah. Forgot about that.
No, so yeah, if you do have a PC as well, like the Game Pass is such a great deal because there's hundreds of games that you can pick from and install and play for this little gift card. So absolutely, even if you've already won, you can throw in Phil Spencer. We'll give these away to whoever. Right now we've got Sam coming in from World Forge Podcast.
Woo!
Huzzah.
Now let's bring him on in.
Another previous guest of the podcast. And you've probably been seeing him in the chat.
Yes. Connecting to audio, we'll have him shortly.
Hey, hello.
Hey,
we
how's it
go.
going, buddy?
He's got a voice for podcasts. We got to quit now. That was beautiful.
We're just done. All
We're
right.
done.
Yep.
Oh.
Cast over.
This is your
All right.
podcast now, Sam.
Oh.
You got to run 2. It's over.
Yeah, I think I'm having some issues here with my audio. I can only hear you through the stream. I can't hear you through
Oh no.
the actual Zoom call. One
Oh,
sec.
that's not good.
We'll give you a moment to get
So
that.
while he fixes that, I believe Sam here was the first guest that we had on the podcast, and this was also pretty early on, in the early days of the podcast. We did an episode talking about, that was one of our game design discussions too, wasn't it?
Correct.
We were talking about I think we were talking about like Doom and game design and utilization of like weapons and things like that, and
Yep.
we were kind of integrating that into Dungeons and Dragons and tabletop gaming and all sorts of. It was a good conversation, definitely an episode worth listening to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. I appreciated you guys bringing me on. Yeah.
But we're glad to have you back.
I don't know why my video isn't working for some reason. So,
I mean, that's
unfortunately,
fine. Nobody
yeah,
else
yeah.
wants to do video. Even Dan.
I was
opted
gonna
out,
say
so-
Dan just walked away from
Yeah.
us. Too.
I'll just have to make sure that my Foley work makes up for the difference. I'll have all kinds of great sound effects and stuff over here.
Yeah, the voice makes up for it. I mean, we could basically you don't even need it, man. We all the beauty is in the voice.
So Sam,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
you
give
know-
a quick rundown of what your show is. If that's cool.
Yeah, please.
Didn't mean to cut you off there. I just want to get us going on stuff. Tell them who you are, and then we'll get into more fun in the conversation here. So World Forge is a comedy telling podcast for creators and world builders. Each episode, your hosts Sam and Piper use random prompts to create a hero, a villain, a monster, or who knows what else. You can check them out on all sorts of different platforms. I'm currently reading this directly from the Apple Podcasts, but I think you guys are on Spotify and some other places too. Otherwise, go follow them, on your favorite listening platform, as well as check them out on Twitter, World Forge Pod, and go say hey to Sam and Piper.
Thank you. That was really impressive. It's like you were reading it, directly off of the script.
Yeah, it was. Actually, you did all the work for me because I just ripped it straight off of Apple Podcasts. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. It's good copy, isn't it? Yeah.
It is pretty good.
It was
It's
well
a lot
written.
better.
Yeah.
Well done. So do you just build worlds or do you actually play worlds too? Like, do you?
Oh, we do it all. It's funny. Let me crack open my number one Minneapolis party boy here, cracking open my 11 a.m. beer.
There you go.
Nice.
There you go.
There's
It's a good Sunday.
Yes, exactly. I'm drinking Insight Dankbot. And honestly, this is the fuel that keeps our show going. Is, local Minneapolis beer.
Good beer.
Yeah, we do play. Actually, Ricky was the guy that first got me into Dungeons and Dragons way back in the day. This would have been like 17, 18 years ago or something like that, way back in like third grade or something, sitting around in in Ricky's garage with our 3.0 source books. And
if that doesn't date us enough, yeah, we started playing in not 3.5, it was 3.0. I still have those, by the way. I still have those books.
I think I might have one of yours or one of Robbie's, actually. That I have a habit of collecting these source books that aren't mine. I've never once purchased a D&D book, and I've got a stack of them about 2 feet tall that just find their way into my possession from people.
That's the best way to do it. They're expensive.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, no, Ricky got me started, and so I've kind of played through up to 5e. Now we play sort of a hybridized version of the game, right?
Did you squish 3 and 5 together? Like,
yes. Yeah, we skip right over 4. Yeah.
Everyone skips 4.
That's what I did too.
4, hot take here. 4 does have some really cool, the minion system. I think is really great from 4e, and I think there's some really interesting inspiration. I think started in 4e. Like, I think there's some cool stuff that's there. It's just a shame that it was packaged inside of the rest of 4e. So we play kind of a hybridized version of 3x and 5th edition now. So I really miss a lot of the crunch from the 3x days, and 5e definitely is geared obviously more towards role play. So we get to kind of bring a lot of that stuff in. My co-host and fiance, she's new to it in 5th edition, so she really, really likes the role play side of it more. That's kind of what she was like brought into. And whenever I try to make her do math, she leaves the room. So, we kind of sit on both sides of that fence. But yeah, it's actually really fun. A lot of the worlds that we've built on air have specifically been things that we've built for our own games or for listeners' games as well. We'll have people send in kind of like elevator pitches of the worlds they're working on, and they'll say, hey, I have a question about, what should dwarves be like in this world? Here's what I have so far. Do you guys want to fill in the blanks for us? And so we've had a lot of fun working with, all kinds of incredible collaborators and listeners and people all over the world. Actually, it's been really great.
That's super cool to hear, like the amount of community input that you guys get. Super neat.
Yeah.
I could imagine that it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's great. We just had our 100th episode recently as well, so we're right there with you guys. We would have started right around the same time, and the whole episode was just like a lightning round, 2 hours of all listener prompts. We created like 20 or 30 different characters and worlds and little starter adventure hooks and all this stuff, all based on our listener suggestions, which is just like so humbling every time we get there.
Yeah. That sounds like an absolute blast. Definitely one of the episodes that everyone should go listen to as soon as possible, because finish this first, but
yeah. Listen to us gab about video games and stuff, and then go listen.
Yeah.
even if you don't play like a tabletop RPG, that might be a good way to start looking into like how it works, and if you're interested, seeing how to build your own characters and things like that. It could be very helpful as a point of entry. So super neat.
Congrats on the 100 episodes too, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, congrats on your episode 100.
Not everybody can make it that far, right? It takes a special breed of podcaster, a very skillful and talented breed of podcaster.
That's I was telling these guys a couple weeks ago as we started planning this, is like, I was just reading an article where it's like most people, they'll start a thing and they don't even make it to 5 episodes, and like 95% of the people stop before 20. So it's like we're doing awesome. So congrats to you and Piper for your podcast making 100. That's awesome.
You.
Yeah, definitely. And congrats and thanks for the invite.
Of course. You know what? We've been talking about it since I was on your guys' show. It's funny because it seems at the very least. This is another little look into our world. Rich is Ricky to me. He's always been Ricky to me, and every time I interact with people he knows as an adult, they're like, "Who the heck is Ricky?" Right?
Right.
But I
was actually watching everybody's reaction every time you said it. Everybody was like, "What?"
I think that was a topic of conversation when we had you on. You said Ricky, and we're all like, "Who is Ricky?"
What the heck?
Sam is one of the few people that still gets to call me that.
Yeah,
it's a badge of honor.
Right? Such privilege.
I really feel like we're just going to start adjusting our podcast. I think we've mentioned a few times to start calling you Ricky, but I feel like you might quit.
It just doesn't stick.
Yeah.
No,
you guys can't do it.
That's how I feel about Rich. Like once in a while I'll say Rich and it just doesn't it doesn't work. It feels rough coming out of my mouth. I don't like it. But yeah, we've said for the longest time, like, we love having, anybody for all kinds of creative backgrounds and different perspectives on the show. And at the very least, it seems ridiculous that Ricky, who got me into the game, hasn't been on the show yet. So that's absolutely our shortcoming. We'll be sure to have you guys on at some point.
Come on, Ricky. Come on.
Yeah, I think we've pushed him into the world of Warhammer now, so I don't know that he's
Dude.
gonna jump into any other tabletop.
I literally
for a bit.
haven't. I haven't been able to think about anything else for like the last 3 weeks, dude.
Oh wow.
That
Yeah,
plastic
don't you
crack.
mean into
Plastic
the
crack.
world of poverty? Because that's kind of
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, every time, no joke. Every time I go into a game shop now, I end up walking out $60 poorer.
Sounds like when I used to play Magic.
Pretty much.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
I'll get you on board with the 3D printer, Rich, and then you'll be a little happier.
Yeah, there you go.
A little cheaper.
I feel like I'm cheating. Like I'm cheating on Warhammer.
Well, if you build your army first and then print stupid stuff that you're like, yeah, this would be fun, but I don't want to pay for it.
Yeah.
So,
You know what you do, Ricky? You just get one of those little Pog press machines, those little button
There we
presses,
go.
and then just take a screenshot of some Tyranids, and then just pop them onto a little token.
like a little token, and just use those.
Yeah.
There you go.
That won't make anybody mad.
could you imagine showing up to play like a tournament with
Yeah.
Pogs? Like,
They wouldn't.
Yeah,
let me.
right?
Yeah.
No.
They
It's the
wouldn't- they
squashed
wouldn't let me.
army. It's a new thing. Don't worry about it.
Exactly.
this
Yeah.
is way better.
Hobbyists hate him. 10 reasons why.
Nice. Good video. So question for you, Sam. With the pandemic here, how has tabletop gaming worked out for you since things happened? Did you jump over to digital platforms? Did you just quit and only focus on like the world building side, or how did that shape the way you play?
Yeah, it's funny. We had been in the middle of a little bit of a drought right when the every game is on hold until it's not, right? We have a lot of games that have been going on for years and years, and we'll go sometimes 6 months or a year without playing, right? My longest running campaign right now started shortly after Piper and I started dating like 6 years ago, and we haven't played in like 2 years, right? That I still consider that an active game, right? But right at the beginning of lockdown, we were sort of in this drought where we hadn't really played in like 3 or 4 months anyway. And then suddenly we wanted to go play again. It was like a well into the lockdown. We were like, oh, shit, how do we do this now? So we had this really kind of weird adjustment period that we did have to kind of figure out, okay, how do you use, what virtual tabletop are we going to use? What are we just going to do this through Zoom and do Theater of the Mind or do it through Discord or whatever? Are we going to try and go with like a Fantasy Grounds or something like that? And we ended up actually, our group, like I said, is... my fiance is much more into the role play side of things, and a lot of our players that we play with now are also kind of newly brought into the game in 5th edition. So we were sort of lucky that we were able to use just Theater of the Mind, and it really didn't end up being that big of an adjustment for us. For us, like, I love miniatures and terrain building and stuff like that, but that's just kind of a nice little benefit for, like, when I DM and I use miniatures, it's for me, not my players. You know what I mean? Like, I get to be like, oh, look at all this cool, I painted these and made these. My players could really care less. Like, they don't really care about that kind of thing as much. So, it ended up being a little bit easier of a transition than we thought. The only game that we really had to really take seriously and kind of figure out how to manage that online was actually a game that Piper, my fiance and co-host, ran, and it was one of the first games that she had ran actually ever. We were running it for some other podcast friends of ours. It was a little one shot we did, and so she had a bunch of maps commissioned, and she had to figure out how to do like screen sharing and stuff, and we had all these like sound effects and things like that. So we found some really interesting resources that enabled us to do that a little bit easier. There's a website called bard.ly that it's basically like it creates like a shared soundscape. Essentially, everybody just opens up this page, and then one person controls a sound effect, a soundtrack that everybody hears as you play remotely. There are a lot of really cool things like that I think even just in the last year or so have emerged as a response to people having to find ways to play online, and I love it. It's so cool.
Yeah, that is pretty great. I'm gonna go check out that Bard.
I was going to say the second we're done.
I see Bardly, like that's what it says to me, but I'm definitely gonna check that out.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Rich.
Oh, I was gonna say, so kind of going all the way back, Sam. I remember when we first started playing, we didn't do a lot of the a lot of the RP stuff, it was more like little RP but big G. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
we
yes,
focused a
yeah.
lot on like the dungeon design and like encounters and things like that. I remember you had a really big thing where you were really good at like creating puzzles um and I
Aw.
think at one point in time you kind of became like the de facto GM for us too. I think you were the one that just like doing it the most.
Yeah.
But what I was going to ask is like, so you've been DMing for basically ever since then, right? Since before we were even in high school. Like, what would you say, like, as a tip for people who are just getting into D&D, if they do want to start with their own games as a DM, how do you think they find their style, right? You know, because as you were talking
Yeah.
about, you know, Piper's style is you know more on the bigger part of the RP, maybe less so on the G, and you could, I think you can, I don't know what your style is anymore. But I would think like, for me at least, when I play Dungeons and Dragons, I like focusing more on like the strategy and moving around the pieces and attacking the right things and like that. So what advice would you give for a budding DM to find their style?
You know, I think that's a really awesome and important question to kind of ask, right? And I think what it comes down to really is kind of accepting that the story isn't really just yours, right? Like the story belongs to everybody at the table. And I think depending on what group I'm playing with, the answer to this question is going to be sort of different, right? I think really what you need to be able to, my DMing style is, I would say, kind of a collaborative storytelling approach. I think that's really a direction that I've moved a lot in the last couple of years, and partly as a way of, you know, relieving some of the burden of having to create everything myself, right? You know, when you're building these huge, massive worlds and you need to play a game every week, that's a significant amount of work if you're also, you know, have a full-time job and have other responsibilities in your life, right? So something that I've really leaned towards a lot lately is just that sort of collaborative aspect of it. So, you know, anytime I walk into a room, instead of on my own saying, oh, okay, you walk into a room, there's an elf over in the corner who's you know, he's in his cups, and then there's a dwarf over here at the bar who's getting into an argument with a drow, and then from the ceiling is like a, you know, golden chandelier. Like, what I like to do instead is I'll lay kind of the groundwork, you know, kind of set the tone a little bit. And then I like to ask all my players, anytime we go into a new space, what's something that you see here? Who is someone that you see here? And then I try to kind of incorporate all those things into the story. And I find that that's a really helpful way to be able to engage all of my players more, to give them a little bit more ownership over the world and the story. And then it lets us have kind of dynamic encounters too, right? If one of my players says, hey, there's a chandelier hanging low from the ceiling, maybe in combat later they're swinging from that, you know, like there's little things, little details that I couldn't necessarily think of on my own that they get to infuse into the world. And I really have liked that a lot, even to the point of, you know, if I have like an NPC, like a shopkeeper or something like that, I'll even sometimes if I have multiple NPCs in one scene, I'll even let my players kind of take over the NPCs sometime. And it's a lot more kind of improv and sort of riffing like that. And it's been a really, really satisfying way to kind of learn about how my players like to play and the kinds of things that they like in their game. And that really just enables me to give them more stuff that they want, you know? Yeah, it's interesting. I guess to distill this down to a piece of advice is, you know, don't feel like you have to do it all yourself. Open the door for, you know, communication at your table and for collaboration, and make sure that you're trying to meet everybody's needs. And I think it makes everything a lot easier for everybody if you do that.
So you were saying that Piper's kind of newer to the game with 5th edition. Did your style change around that same time, or had you changed to this way of playing? My question is, I'm wondering how that works with newer players. You know, people who aren't quite confident enough to make, you know, like their own character designs really fleshed out, or don't really know like what the world should look like or could look like,
or they don't really engage in the RP. They feel like uncomfortable with the RP part.
So how would you coax that with a newer player in that style of DMing?
Yeah, you know, I think, like I said, it really just kind of comes down to, like, you know, you have a session 0, right? You need to kind of understand what it is that all of your players really want out of your game. If your players are nervous about the RP aspect of things, like, I'll try to make sure to include, something else that they can engage with comfortably, or if they, you know, if they don't really like the combat as much, I'll try to make sure that there is more RP type stuff, or that, you know, I think you talk about the three pillars of D&D, right? There's the exploration, there's the, you know, like kind of skill based things, and then there's combat. And role play, I think, kind of cover, like, it's sort of an umbrella that all of that stuff kind of fits under, right? And I think you can find ways to give your players opportunity to role play within all three of those sort of spheres. And I think it's just sort of figuring out what your players are comfortable with, what they want out of the game. And a lot of times just having a conversation where I literally ask them, hey, what do you want? What do you want to do? You know, and then I'll kind of build the world around that. You know, and I've found that we've had a lot of luck with that. You know, that being said, most of the people that I play with are either, you know, people that I've known for a very long time, so we have this comfortability naturally, or people who are, you know, podcasters and presenters, so they're obviously very, you know, they want to be in the spotlight, they want to run their mouths and role play, you know, and do stuff like that. So I think anybody can have fun role playing. It's just sort of finding the right kind of platform for them.
So it sounds like you've kind of built like a framework for D&D, just like the 3 pillars thing kind of stands out as like a, hey, I could do this. And I think you just sold me on session 0. It's like, I was never a session 0. I was like, no, we're just gonna play it and you figure out as we play. Like, that's how you're gonna learn. Like, we're gonna
dive in the
immerse
deep
you.
end.
You know, like with Matt here on the podcast, you know, his first adventure with at least my D&D group was we were playing Curse of Strahd. Good luck with that one. Like, you're gonna probably die, right? Like,
I survived till the end. Still
you
stuck
did.
in Barovia, but
Survived.
You did go like toe to toe with the head vampire, so like you basically saved everyone by killing yourself. So. But I am also, just a last bit here about the miniatures piece. I'm the same way. I love having miniatures on the table, and it might just be for me. I'm like, I want to paint them, I want to build them, I want a map, and I want like this whole cool looking battlefield the whole time. So much so that I'm actually looking at taking the Rime of the Frost Maiden and printing out that entire, like, every dungeon or building that you go into.
Amazing.
So if I do get that going here, I'll send you some pics, and maybe jump on an episode we could talk about like building out the terrain and stuff like that. So
yeah,
I would absolutely love that. Yeah,
cool.
That'd be cool. It's not something that we really get to talk about a lot on our show, right? Obviously, podcasting is an audio medium, so it's kind of hard for us to bring in things like that. But I think that would be a really, really fun thing to explore a little bit more and say, how can these, you know, how can miniatures and how can terrain and stuff impact the way you tell stories? How does that enrich, you know, the intertextuality of that would be like the fancy communication studies term, right? Where you know, you have stories being told through multiple different channels, through visuals, through audio, through, you know, sight, sense, sound, smell, etc.
Yep. I definitely like Theater of the Mind has its place. I think there are some modules or some encounters that you have to run that way. But it's like, as a DM, combat tracking, like where things are and distances and making sure something can happen, like playing one game where my brother was DMing, I think it was a Cambion that I put Tasha's Hideous Laughter on and blooped it into an ocean, and it laughed its way to death. Like, it just fell to the bottom of the sea laughing, right? Failed its saves the whole way. But like, without knowing where those distances were, I was 5 feet. Like, if I was 5 feet one way or the other, that spell doesn't hit him. So trying to figure out, how does this work? Can I actually get close enough? And, you know, as a DM, when someone's asking you, well, can I get that far? Because they can't physically see it. You got to be like, maybe?
Yeah.
Like, you know, you have to figure out, you basically as the DM or GM have to make a map of the entire place in your brain and keep track of every single little piece of thing that everyone else is doing and where they're at, and, you know, the angles and like advantage attack rolls, and like, it's so much.
It feels like you just have to be willing to fudge it a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like, you can make it.
Yeah.
But for someone, I mean, and Jamie in the chat brings up a really good point, is that, like, you know, when you're doing just, you know, a lot more theater of the mind stuff, it does kind of get a little bit more difficult to picture, like, okay, where are my friends at? Where are the bad guys at? Where are the things I want to interact with? You know, like, it kind of gets difficult to remember all of that information, which is why, I love doing stuff with like miniatures and getting out that grid and making, visualizing it like a big chessboard. Like, how much distance do I have between these sorts of enemies so that I can, strategically place myself and my teammates in such a way that, like, we can make this battle even more beneficial for our favorite, like the gaming aspect. Like, I really enjoy the game aspect of it,
And I think that definitely is something that comes from, Ricky, like our background in non-traditional gaming, right? Like like role-playing strategy, like real-time strategy type games, right? And I feel the same way. And I think it's, there are ways to kind of abstract that as well that can make it a little bit more accessible, right? I mean, there are a lot of systems that instead of using 5-foot increments, they say, okay, you're either close, medium, or far away from something, right?
Sure.
And so you have this sort of this wiggle room within there that you can define that more narratively than you have to based on just solely actual physical relative location. I think there's a lot of approaches to that work really well depending on what your players want.
Mm-hmm.
So I hate to cut it short here, but we're running out of time before our next guest will come on. Sam, you actually cast, I believe you were on the episode with our next guest. So if you want to hang out, I don't see any reason why not. But if you want to drop off, it's totally your call.
No, I'm having a blast. I'll stick around as long as y'all want.
Excellent. Yeah. We have some maintenance here on a giveaway. I believe Joseph Arnold wins the Game Pass gift card. So
congratulations.
Joseph, if you're still there, hopefully it's been a little while. Please send us a message here to let us know you're still listening so that, hey, we can give this to you. Secondly, hit us up on Discord and say, hey, I'm Joe. I won the Game Pass thing. I don't know if he's still on.
We'll find out.
If not, we'll have to re-roll it and we'll see what happens.
Joseph. I'm pretty sure they are in Discord.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, Rich, if you know him, then feel free to reach out and let him know he won the Game Pass card.
Sure.
Okay, something cool here. Oh, nice. Don't be on the phone.
Unacceptable.
Listen to us, not to what could be so important.
Seriously.
We are going to do a cool giveaway here with Sam. So if anyone is interested in some D&D stuff, I've got this. Come on, do it. Work. It's there. It's a book. You can okay. So
it's a book of invisibility.
Oh, hey, there we go.
Yes.
Make it my face.
We've got
There
good
we go.
pictures of it on our Twitter.
Yeah, you can check it
Mike
on
did
Twitter.
share. Yeah, so go give us a follow there and check out the pictures of the book.
So there's, I'm gonna hit my mic. There is that book, and then there's these fancy dancy dice, a set of metal dice, and to go along with the theme of World Forge, I've got a World Builder's Journal. It is a booklet that has a bunch of prompts inside of it to help you kind of build this together. So like one of the prompts is not that one because that one kind of sucks actually.
Sell on the prize.
Yeah, I know,
I have
right?
a lot of those ideas too. Yeah.
So, one of the things is like, now imagine that you're a character with an adventuring party. As your character, how do you extract information? So really understanding like the depth of your character, like what are some of the things that you could do, right? Like how would you, as what you're playing as, take information from somebody? Or something, whatever it may be. Like you ripping toenails out of like the illithid that's like not wanting to talk to you, or what happens?
Man.
Jesus.
Or stealing secret documents, or very diplomatic, or a lot of ways.
Are you going to bribe them? Things like that. So yeah, that is up for grabs. For those of you who are interested in the D&D stuff, feel free to put in the word role play. The two words, role play. I think illithids do have toenails. I don't think they have squid feet. I know they have squid faces, but I think they have regular feet. I know they have fingernails, right?
I think it's more of a claw situation.
Well, it's still
You
kind
rip
of
the
a
claws
nail,
out
right?
then,
Yeah.
They peel out the same way.
So just as to clarify the prize a little bit, is it the whole set that this person is winning?
Yep,
Cool.
it's everything. It's,
Awesome.
I thought about splitting it up, like one person wins dice, the other, but no, it's just going to be easier to send out a journal. But roll as in roll, not like rolling the dice, but
As
I
in
guess
the character kind of role.
Okay.
But you know what? It's already in there as ROLL, so we'll have to do it.
That's what it is,
Just
though.
roll
That's what
with it at
Dungeons.
this
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I don't
got
think
dice in it.
illithids
It's
have
role
jellyfish
play.
hands, Anthony.
Jellyfish hands.
Oh my
What do you do
God.
with jelly? It's just wet mops. It's all
You just sting everybody, and then they have
They're-
to figure out who's going to pee on the person to heal
See,
them.
they're really good. They're really good for like barbecuing. You can like slop your hands in the sauce and just get it all
There
over
you
the. It's the perfect mopping tool for that. Yeah. So that giveaway is on the way.
There you go. Jared's got it.
1, 2, 3.
See, everybody wants in on this stuff.
Yeah, this is
Yeah,
like
this is
the
cool
basic
stuff.
cool stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is cool stuff.
So it's pretty neat.
Hey,
It was really
Game
kind of
Pass
difficult
Ultimate
to
is cool.
not as cool as like a world building
I
journal.
say this
Like,
is a pretty nice little collection, Mike.
Yeah, I'd
Game
take the
Pass is
journal,
pretty.
man.
I mean, there's a reason we talk about Game Pass and not Dungeons and Dragons on our podcast.
If we were a Dungeons and Dragons podcast, we would probably talk about
Well, I would argue, why did we start with games in the first place then?
because not
See,
everyone.
now
plays
it's time to cross
tabletop
over.
games?
See,
All right.
What you guys should do is you should be talking to Sam here and seeing
So
about
we got-
bringing him under the
Should we
cold
get
state
our
umbrella.
next guest?
So
in
we
here?
got we got
Yeah,
like
if Cullen is waiting, we can hop
Yeah.
over and
Let's
bring him in.
I'll bring him in here.
we got our crossover episode coming where it's like The Simpsons meet Bob's Burgers or something.
Nice.
Yeah.
Campfire Gaming Podcast Civil War.
There we go.
Hey,
Cullen,
buddy.
welcome.
Welcome
Hey,
back,
what's up,
homie.
guys? Hey,
There we
thanks.
go. Perfect.
Hey, Colin.
Hey, what's up?
Two times in like about a month having Cullen back. This is wonderful.
Oh, this is a dream.
I
So we're
try and
gonna-
satisfy you guys as much as I can.
Yeah.
Oh,
And believe me, you do.
Yeah.
Wink, wink.
Cullen, are you watching the YouTube stream?
Yeah.
Can you do me a big favor right now?
Okay.
Pick any person in that YouTube stream. We're gonna give him a $20 Steam gift card.
Wow.
Anybody?
person.
Anybody?
That's
Can that be
whoever-
me too?
Whoever you want. I don't care. You can give it to Matt if you want. I guess.
Oh, don't give it to him. Don't waste
Yeah,
a
give it to
perfectly
s-
good Steam card.
Yeah, just pick anybody. Feel free. You know, if anybody wants it, put like ooh 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 in the chat, and we'll get that going. So that'll help you pick somebody if they're interested. Type in ooh ooh ooh.
I'm excited for Mike's intro of Cullen. You don't have a website to pull the intro from.
I
so how are you gonna...
don't. I don't. I'm really just.
Description.
So-
go.
Nah, we're Colin's OG, man.
Yep.
He's
we don't have
OG
to-
Campfire. He needs no introduction. If
Yeah,
you're a
go
long
listen
time,
to-
if you're
go listen to the first whatever, like 50 episodes, and I'm in there.
There you go.
Yep.
Good reason to take a step back in time and check out the beginning.
Or last
Exactly.
month's Microsoft Bethesda Showcase episode.
yeah, that was
Also
fun.
true.
Man, that was a good episode.
That was a good
That
time.
was a really good episode. So, kind of go like we kind of want to just like reminisce a little bit. At least I do.
yeah.
Like
yeah.
going back to like episode 1. So I don't remember. I honestly don't even remember what the content was for episode 1. Was that when we started dumping on Stadia? No, that
Yeah.
wasn't.
Wasn't that the first episode? Wasn't Stadia the first one?
No,
I
it was loot
overslept.
boxes. One of them
Yeah.
was loot boxes, I think.
So
Well,
you
that was
guys were
number
very like
three?
subject
No,
specific.
no,
Hold on.
Stadia and game streaming services. I just pulled it up.
Okay.
here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wow, look at that.
Dang.
We've been
We've
shitting
been
on
dumping
Stadia
on
for
Stadia
100
since
episodes.
day 1.
Consistency.
By the way, I want to throw it out there. We're not giving one away, but I suggested giving a Stadia away during our live stream.
It's the consolation prize.
Yeah, but
That would've
we
been fun.
decided against giving away something good and worthwhile.
Exactly. We wanted you guys to stay around.
Anyway, so going back to like episode 1, Colin, I mean, we are just kind of reminiscing about how like, you remember like when we used to do this live, right? And we had, being one of the founders of it, going back and huddling around like one single Blue Yeti microphone. You remember how fun that was?
Oh my god.
How
Yeah.
long? Yeah. Was it only it was the first episode that we had one mic, and then we had two for a while, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that was the first because was that when we were recording 2 at a time? 'Cause
Yes.
Okay.
Mm.
So like the first 2 episodes, there was 4 of us, cuddling
Huddled
around
around one Blue Yeti. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I remember getting home and we used Slack to talk, and I said, "Guys, we're getting more mics. One is
It was
not
so
enough."
hard.
I love picturing you guys like cheek to cheek, your whiskers tangling up together as you're recording. Yeah.
That was
Well, we
actually
were
more
like-
once
it-
we got two microphones, if you remember, because then it was 2 people
Yeah.
cuddled together, and we would take turns bouncing in and out.
Right.
Of the
It would either
microphone.
be like bouncing in and out like this, or like I think when we had our like our Blue Yeti episodes, we were just doing this, where we were just moving the microphone back and
Oh my
forth to
God.
one another. So like, yeah, all of a sudden you'd hear just a giant squeak of it, like
Yeah.
going over to another person.
You've got to take the Tay Zonde approach, where you turn your head away from the microphone to breathe in.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Chocolate rain.
So my favorite part of the first episode is we did it the day after my birthday. So basically right now.
Happy
Nice.
birthday, Mike.
It's true.
I went out and did karaoke the whole night before to like, and Matt, you were there for some of it.
I was there. Yep.
Chase was actually there for some of it, but I slept through I didn't wake up until like 2:00 because I was just destroyed the night before. So I wasn't even there for the first episodes. I was just like, sleep.
I'm glad the chat brought that up, because I was gonna bring it up. I was gonna be like, yeah, we were all gonna get together as a group, and then Mike got hammered the night before and didn't show up.
Yeah. It was a fun time.
It was a birthday party. It was a good time.
It's fair.
Yeah.
Oh, Colin, what like of the 50 or so episodes that you've been a part of, what do you think was one of your favorites that you got to be a part of?
Honestly, my favorite one is probably the Senua episode, where we had the deep discussion about playing Senua.
Unofficial first book club game. Yeah.
That's kind of the
Yeah.
birth of where that whole book club thing came from. I know we started it technically with Resident Evil, but I remember just having
Right.
so much fun in that episode, being like, we need to do this again.
Yeah.
So that was a good time.
So we got Colin to thank for the genesis of the book club.
Yeah, pretty
Was
much.
that your idea too, Colin? To do the like a episode on Hellblade?
I think kind of. I think wasn't Mike and Matt, you guys were playing Senua, and I was like, oh, I have Senua too. Maybe I should play it too and try and beat it at the same time. Because I swear you guys were talking about potentially doing like a side
Yep.
podcast episode of just you guys, and I was like, nah, forget that. Let's do it together.
Well, I mean, there was like 5 of us, so it still was like a little bit of a side episode. We were looking at, oh yeah, this is a great a game. We should probably review it. Let's do a game review, and that's kind of where it fleshed out. And you were like, yeah, let's make it a thing. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's a good idea. And Matt was like, yeah, that's a good idea. So basically, yeah, we have you to thank for pushing that piece, and I think it's worked out gloriously since.
I feel like Senua is such a great place to start with that too, because there, you could have a 10 episode series of podcasts just about that game. Like there's so much to unpack there, right? Like the development process is so interesting. The game itself, like the type of content it covers, and like the kind of the social implications, like the real world kind of message there is really significant. I think that's a really remarkable. Ninja Theory just is like an incredible team. Like I'm so like, I don't know. We're like not. We don't deserve to have like such a great. You know what I mean? Like I think it's really really cool what they put together. I love that.
And for those that haven't played yet and now might be thinking about playing it, make sure you have headphones and don't watch. There's a little documentary video that comes along with the game. Watch that after you beat it. It's very very good and really cool. But yeah, go play Hellblade.
I think that's still on Game Pass, right?
Probably.
It should be indefinitely. They're a part of Microsoft now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's also frequently like $4 on Steam.
Also true.
Yeah.
Nice. Really quick housekeeping piece. We've got a winner for the D&D stuff.
Ooh. Who is it?
Ooh.
It looks like Jared. You are our big winner for dice and a book.
Nice.
Oh my gosh. Can I give a quick shout out to Jared? He's actually a good friend of mine. He hosts the podcast Monsters and Multiclass, which is a phenomenal show where every week they talk about a different multiclass combination and whether it's good or totally sucks. And spoilers, a lot of them totally suck. So
I was wondering how many were actually good. Yeah.
I would imagine.
Most of them are terrible.
Monsters and multiclass.
Is it like a monster race that becomes a multi-class? So is it like a what's a go to like a Minotaur Bard Ranger?
See,
Or
now
is it-
that would be really cool if that was what they did. That's a way better podcast than the crap that he does, honestly. But no, they talk about they talk about a multi-class, and then they talk about one monster every single week, and they kind of break it down and say like, hey,
Gotcha.
what's
Excellent.
interesting and unique about this? What are cool ways you can use them in your games?
Right on.
Yeah, we had. I was on an episode of him. We talked about artificer monks, and we decided that Santa Claus was the best possible example of a monk artificer. He's a weird recluse that makes toys. And, that's the kind of stuff they get up to. They're
That's pretty
monsters
great.
_multi on Twitter.
I love it.
Jared, if you want to jump in our Discord, send us a message. Do also please subscribe to our stuff. That'd be beneficial, and we'll get this out to you after you message. We'll get some contact info, like where to send it, or if you're local, maybe we'll just drop it off. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. So.
Well, congratulations.
Absolutely. Congratulations. Colin, have you picked somebody yet?
Yeah. G Slayer.
G Slayer gets
What did he get?
another Steam gift
I
card.
was gonna say that's
Nice.
the second one.
Wow, he's raking it in.
Yeah. See, now you have no excuse not to buy the games that we play, because you can at least afford one and something that you want, so you can come hang with us.
Exactly.
Right on. For those of you that are still hanging out, don't worry. We still have 2 more giveaways to do. Rich, I believe you've got a Game Pass card, and
I do.
there's a
I
Sony.
got one here.
So if you have a Sony device, the next one coming up is going to be a PlayStation $25 gift card. So keep
Some good
your
games there.
ears on.
You're one of our dedicated PlayStation listeners.
I can't
You
be
were
the only
you
one.
were talked about, Jared, and you missed the whole thing. I feel like we gotta pull that back and re-roll now.
Yeah.
Sad
Let's rewind,
faces.
you guys.
You'll just have to
All right.
watch the VOD.
Yep,
Yeah, watch the VOD. I even called you by your real name, Jared. Normally, the meme is that every time he comes on our show, I call him Javier or Gerald or Geraldo or something like that. We never use his real name, but he missed it. The one time I'll deign to call him by his weird name, Jared with 2 R's. He misses it all.
So Cullen, it's been a while. What are you playing lately? Like what games are you digging into?
Honestly, I'm kind of in between games right now, but
You say that like
The-
you're dating your systems or something. Like, come right now.
yeah. So
Got a side game.
I was playing The Sims, but we're fighting right now. Yeah.
Me, my brother, and a buddy of mine just finished whatever content's available for Valheim, and then we like the most recent DLC for Total Warhammer came out, so I've been playing with a buddy of mine of that as well. But I've also been trying to convince my brother to buy Divinity Original Sin 2 and maybe do a playthrough of that.
It's
I still
so
have to
good.
finish that. Like, I got to the second act, and I keep restarting. Like, I'll start a game with like my brother. I'll start a game by myself, and then I'll start like a new game with my brother, and like with my brother and my nephew, and then I just keep
Yeah.
restarting. And I finally got to Act 2, and then I started playing something else. So
I feel
really
like
need to get through, like,
everyone I know that's played Divinity Original Sin 2 has had that exact experience. They're like, I've beaten Fort Joy 17 times, but I've never done anything else.
Yep.
Hey, it's one of my favorite games. I definitely enjoyed it, but yeah, co-op is another monster, and it's hard to keep people interested for
Yeah.
a 40-hour game.
Have you picked up Baldur's Gate 3 yet?
No, I haven't. I mean, it's definitely on my list to pick up whenever it comes out, but I don't want to spoil it for myself. I don't want to see the early stuff and when they're trying to figure everything out. So I'd rather just wait until it finally releases.
Yeah, we just started playing multiplayer on it 2 days ago, shortly after we were playing Hell Let Loose the other night. And it's a bit rough still. Like, it looks pretty, and there's only like that first act available. But it looks decent for what it is now. I don't think multiplayer works correctly. We crashed like 5 times, but
No.
So it's pretty. I think it'll be great once it's finished. Definitely something we should try and play through, or you should, and we should
Tell us
chat
about
about
it. Yeah. Maybe a book
Yeah.
club? Is that a book club game?
That's like a 70-hour.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Oh,
we don't
easy.
have time for that.
Complete done in a month. I can do that in a month.
I have no time for that.
Play along with us the next 6 months.
Right.
Exactly.
I mean,
it'll be an
it's
it'll be an
supposed to come
ongoing book
out
club.
like 2022. So if we just keep playing, like if Colin picks it up now and just plays through the iterations as it happens, we could do like an Act 1, an Act 2, and Act 3, and it'd be like 10-ish hours per act, I think,
Did they
without any of the
actually-
extra stuff.
Did they leak some kind of or did they announce some kind of potential release date?
They said in a tweet or one of the like near E3 things, they're hopeful for a 2022 launch date. So that's the
Okay.
best we got is 2022, and that's we hope 2022. So it's a bit.
Yeah, I mean, Larian is pretty good with their, I don't know what you would call it, if you would say it was pretty good, but for their early access kind of demo beta stage, they spend a lot of time working with the community to make sure they kind of button down any of the issues before the release.
Yeah, I was gonna say like Divinity that ran beautifully. Like there was some, I played on the Switch. There were a few issues, but as soon as those were brought to light, they were like, "Hey, we'll nip it right now." So it's really cool that they do work pretty well with their users. I wish more game companies would do that. It'd be nice.
You know, Colin, I'm still a little sad we haven't had our chance to do an episode on our like a retrospective on classic WoW. I think
that would be
we were like 4 episodes into the podcast and we were just like ranting and raving about how excited we were about it, and then we never got a really good chance to talk about it after the fact.
I think it would be definitely an interesting conversation to have to specifically talk about WoW Classic and like Vanilla Classic, and then you can briefly, have a conversation about TBC. Obviously, it's still running, but yeah, I don't know.
Sounds like a bonus episode idea.
It does sound like a good bonus episode idea. Or maybe like just your thoughts and just general thoughts about how your classic experience went.
So I mean, like the start of classic was amazing, right? It lived up to the rose tinted glasses and the fact that the community was all working together. You're running dungeons, people are having fun, everyone's friendly for the most part. You're leveling up and it's great. But then as the essential main wave hit max level, you can start seeing the inklings of some toxic community and just other pieces of the original design of the game is not living up to the current times, and how information is widely spread and easily accessible kind of just ruins a sense of discovery and potential like memory builds, and yeah, it's just slowly devolved down a spiral of not fun, where I could only enjoy playing if I actually had a dedicated group of 5 people, right?
Right.
If I tried to play with any randos, there was a good chance that the rando that we picked up was just a dick and not fun.
Well, see, and that's the funny thing too, is that towards like the middle of classic WoW's lifespan, is that like you started seeing less and less people trying to actually level, and more people were just boosting.
Yeah.
Like if you could even find people to play with anymore, everyone would just spend, they'd go and buy 6,000 gold with their mom's credit card, and then they would go and just start boosting, and they would never actually want to interact with anybody unless it was for 40 minutes of raiding.
Right. And then, the economy in the game kind of just blew up with not only bots, but as well as people have, found the optimized way to get gold. So there's just so much money in the economy that it just blew up everything.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good takeaway from that, is that like even with the rose tinted glasses, I think the game itself held its own design very well, but the community had definitely changed so much to the point where it was like it's impossible to relive that experience, mainly because the access to information and just the amount of knowledge about the original game is so vast that like everybody's kind of figured out the best way of doing everything. It's like it's kind of like if you go back and play Super Mario 64 or something like that, and everybody's just going and waving through it, you're going to have people who are just experiencing it for the first time, and it could be really cool. But then there's going to be a ton of people who are going to know the optimized route to get every star, and basically speed run. Like everyone's a speed runner at that point, kind of a thing.
Yeah,
it's an interesting way to go back.
We can do another giveaway here since we're probably going to end noon-ish, maybe a little bit after. If you are interested in a $25 gift card for PlayStation, put PlayStation in the chat, and we'll randomize that out and get it to somebody. I wish someone would make a game like World of Warcraft, but it would just be raids. Like you could get an easily kitted out character, and all you do is just go do the dungeon crawls with the same mechanics. You don't have to do the 70 hours of grinding your guy to a certain point. That's the thing that holds me back from any of those games, is like, if I play that game, I don't play any other games. I'd like to be able to where is World of Warcraft Raid Edition, where you just get the raids and you can just jump in as, like a kitted out dude, and like that would be super cool.
That's the majority of what you could argue that that's what retail is.
Exactly. That's what I was
Yeah.
gonna say.
I think it's so interesting that like when you actually put that into a game that has all the other stuff, it kind of ruins the game, right? Like even though that's the thing that people kind of like, that's the actual game of the game, right? All of the stuff that's around it, like getting to places, like meeting other players, like putting groups together, all of that, like that's what makes the world feel big and real and livable, right? And all of these things that are kind of like put in for convenience sake, right? Like cross server instances and like LFG like lobbies rather than having to shout LFG in, you know, an out of character chat and things like that. Like those things just shrink the world. And I think it's so interesting that like I totally agree. Like if it was a standalone game that was just based on raids where like every time you go in, you say, okay, here's the loadout that I want to use this time. You just pick one, you just pick a class that has, you know, best in slot everything. That's super fun, right? But when there is another sort of aspect of the game where you kind of have to build up to that, it sort of cheapens the experience a little bit in some ways because it's like you're not working for it. You know, it's like if you build something in survival in Minecraft, you know that you went and mined all those bricks and it's like, oh, it's more satisfying. But if you build something in creative, it's like, oh, I just willed them into being, right? It's two like valid experiences. They're kind of opposite sides of the same coin. I think that's a really interesting interplay between those two things.
Right, because when you take out, so one of the big motivations to doing a lot of this end game content is for progression gear, but then there's a lot of people who just do it just to either get, you know, the world first kill or something like that, to speed run it, or to, you know, or just to even just see the content. They might not necessarily even care about the gear. So I mean, yeah, that's like what you said, Sam. There's definitely two very valid ways of playing. Is that like you kind of have this sort of progression focused style of game where you start at level 1, you work your ass up to level 60, you get the gear to start raiding, to get the better gear, to raid harder, to get the better gear, etc., etc. Or you just play to fight bosses because fighting bosses is fun. I think that's one of the strongest things about retail WoW is that a lot of the boss fights and a lot of the boss mechanics are really interesting and really, really fun. I mean, hot take, I actually kind of liked, out of BFA, I did like the Gahoon fight. Which was just like this. Basically, it was a fight where it was just like a piece of an engineered old god, and like what you had to do is you had to split your raid in half, and you basically had to play football almost with some of your players. So like there was just a big stretch of like webbing that you had to walk through, and it would slow you down until you physically can't move anymore, and then you had to basically throw a ball to the next person down the lane, and then they had to do the same thing until they had to basically dunk it in a basket to like move the boss in a certain fashion. And then you had to do this on two sides, so you had two teams of people doing this synchronously to then damage the boss. And it's stuff like that that's just super cool. Like besides the gear, because the gear in a lot of modern WoW I think is dumb anyway, but besides the gear, it's just a fun fight. Like stuff like that.
You don't like the big
cool.
pauldrons that look like skyscrapers?
No, I actually love that stuff. It's just stat-wise, a lot of the gear is just stupid. You know,
Right.
like it's just statted so poorly that it's like half the time the gear doesn't feel like an upgrade. So like you basically are already taking a lot of that out of the game by just saying, well, screw the gear. I just want to kill the bosses now.
Another issue with the gear in retail WoW compared to older generations of WoW is that it almost feels like there's just a random name on a piece of gear, right? You don't care what it's called or what it is exactly. It's just like, okay, there are my stats increasing in some form. I think it's better. I'll just put it on. Versus in older generations of WoW, you know, you're running a specific dungeon for a specific named piece of gear. And you're like, yes, these are the big bad pauldrons from Zul'Farrak, and I know they're great, and you see them on everybody because everybody loves it, and that's an item that I'm going for. Versus in retail, it's just like the boss dropped a thing, it said malicious piece of garbage, and I was like, whatever, okay, my stats are increased.
Right. Yeah. So like, I guess, because me and Sam kind of go way back playing EverQuest together. It'd be like, it's the difference between like EverQuest gear and Diablo gear. So like, instead of having where in classic WoW you would have something like Rain Collar, you could identify it visually, you know exactly what the kind of stats are, you know exactly where it fits or something like that, you know exactly what classes are supposed to have Rain Collar. And then comparing that to like, marauding tower pauldrons of the god whale or something like that, where it's just like tacked on prefixes and suffixes of gear.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it's devolved into. So yeah, it's just like it's not as satisfying when you get a randomly generated, piece
So
of gear.
It's kind of like Borderlands gear. It's just like
yeah.
giant name of whatever item, and then
And
and
handful of stats
yeah.
on it.
And the power creep too is so like, if I find something, as like a level 8 player, that if I find like Bloodstained Mantle or something like that has +4 strength and +4 stamina or something like that, I'm like, oh cool, that's really meaningful. If I'm like a level 60 character and I go from having something that has +724 strength to 726 strength, that's like completely meaningless. You know what I mean? Like it's an
Right.
upgrade, but it completely devalues itself just by like the power creep, like cheapens it,
Right. And to kind of put it into perspective with the WoW community, it's gotten so ridiculous that like every time that you would get a piece of gear, at least in my experience with playing retail WoW, is that like every time you get a piece of gear, it was almost impossible to know if that gear piece was really an upgrade for your class. So what you had to do is you had to like take your set of gear, throw it into like this like algorithmic based simulator, and then like it would tell you which pieces based on stats and calculations and how it would perform in what's called a patchwork fight, and like it would generate like a list of gear that you could potentially have for the combination of pieces that you have. And it's like, this is so stupid. Like this is so dumb that I
That's
can't
gaming,
even
baby.
figure it out. Yeah. It is an interesting thing though that like even with that, the social experience. I mean, I think there was like an article not too long ago about the social experience of online gaming, and I don't remember if maybe you remember, Colin, but like I remember there was somebody who, maybe it was like a blue post from the WoW forums or something like that, but people were talking about how like people aren't in shock and awe about online gaming with other people. And I completely disagree. I think that was one of the big takeaways from Classic WoW, is that like people still love the social experience when it comes to playing these kinds of games, meeting random people. Like people love, funny enough, they love to meet strangers on the internet. And I don't think it's as
that's because we were told not to for so long.
I know, right?
It was,
and now people just don't care. Yeah. But I think,
back-
it's still valid.
back to my comments about wanting like just the raid aspect of things. So if it was easier, and I haven't played WoW in forever, so maybe it is with the retail version. If it was easier to get the gear to run that instance, or if it was easier to get a group that wasn't going to like destroy you if you haven't run the raid 50 times, you weren't already geared out for it and ready to go. That's the parts that I hate, is you had to like grind for so long just to be able to do it, and then you got dumped on when you weren't perfect at it because you just got to being able to do it. So I mean, there's some good parts to it and there's some bad parts to it. I'd like to be able to like have fun and do the whole world experience and have all of that. But at the same time, there's so much to getting there that it's almost like a never-ending mountain climb just to get to the top, and then them to push you back down the hill, right? Like it just.
I
don't know.
gotta get my, expected Destiny comment in here. That's the reason I really don't play Destiny anymore. Every 3 months they reset the power, and I don't, I do a lot of things now. I used to main 3 characters, and I just mained 1, and I don't really play at all because every season they're bumping it up, and it's like by the time I get to the max level and can do end game stuff again, without just getting stomped, it's like, well, I've got a week or 2 of this before they bump it, and it's same old crappy grind again. I'm like, I got other things to do. I got book clubs. I got Metro 2033 to play.
We got Metro to play now. We don't have time for this.
I mean, yeah, that kind of just reveals the different philosophies in game design over the years, right? So when we were all kids, we had plenty of time after school or in the summer to just sit at our computers and grind out that gear in WoW Vanilla at the time, right? And then we could go through, like Sam, you were talking about, the going through the struggles to appreciate the prize in the end, right? And now that we're adults, got kids, don't have time to play games, got jobs, really only have like an hour to play games at night, maybe. And it's like, I'm not going to spend 40 hours grinding to get to the fun part, quote unquote, of the game. So give me that instant gratification, boost me up, give me that gear, let me play the fun part of the game, and then I'm gonna drop out.
So it's not necessarily just like boost up and get the fun gear and then do the fun parts. If they made it easier to do, I'm not saying just give it to you, but if they made it easier to do some of that stuff, where you're not running the same raid 15 times for one item to drop that 5 of you are going to fight over. And I don't know what has changed in the past. I just know that like there's a belt that everybody wants and everyone's only running it, and it doesn't matter. Like you could run with your group, but somebody's still going to go in there and gank it because they just want it. Like they're going to do a roll on it instead of like who gets
4
it.
strength, 4 stam leather belt, right?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, the classic. Yeah.
Well, I've never played WoW, but so there's shared loot streams in that game. It's not like individual.
Well,
In
it
retail.
depends on your iteration of game. So in the like classic version of the game, each boss had a set loot table that it would drop 1 to 2 pieces, right, depending on the tier of the content. So it would drop that piece, and then in a raid scenario, you know, you have 40 people, and it would drop maybe 3 pieces of gear. You got to split up that 3 pieces of gear across 40 people.
Oh, wow.
In retail version, now it's all personalized loot. So
Okay.
you just rolls a dice for you, and then you know, sometimes you get a piece of gear, sometimes you get a tiny bit of gold, sometimes you get some other piece of garbage, and then it's all personalized, and you don't have to fight over it.
Yep. Yeah, just ask G Slayer in the chat how long it took him to get his sword out of Naxxramas. It was weeks. I know it was weeks. I'm pretty sure it was all the way up until just about before BC came out.
And Mike, just to clarify, I'm not trying to invalidate your experience or your
Yes, you are.
preference in gaming, and I'm not saying you're wrong, right? It's
Right.
I'm in the same boat, right? I got 3 kids. I don't have time to play games. I don't have time. Like that's
Ain't
why I
nobody
don't
got
play
time for
classic
that.
WoW anymore. That's why I don't play it, because like I can't keep up with all these Zoomers out there that can spend hours and hours on grinding money and you know, getting all the gear and doing all that stuff. So that's why I'm trying to gravitate more towards single player games, because then I can play at my own pace.
Where's the middle-aged like player MMO? Where's the one for us that are like, oh,
See,
I got like 30
I
minutes
push
on my
back
lunch
on that.
break.
I mean, I'd almost push back on that because there were so many people who used to play EverQuest who were just like that. You know, they had like 3-4 kids or something like that. They worked like 80-hour weeks or something, but they still were on like at 3 a.m. or something because they wanted to farm out like a druid book or something like that. Like,
Well,
Yeah,
sure,
but
I
all
guess-
their kids starved to death because they weren't.
Yeah,
they neglected
that's true.
them, so
And is
Yeah.
that because they like playing the game, or was that just an alcohol replacement? Right? Like, was it?
Right.
a little bit of A, a little bit of B.
You know,
Well,
you're obviously
what we-
giving up something to spend that time, right?
Yeah.
So like, oh, I'm not
Mhm.
sleeping, and I'm gonna just let my kids run around while I sit on the computer.
yeah,
That's just
You
all
know
those
what
neglected
we-
kids grew up to be assholes. That's all that happened.
yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
What we need is like Project 99, like the EverQuest emulated server, right? Has they have like blue and red server, right? So the blue is like the regular like non-PvP, red is the PvP server. We need a gray server for all the olds who like it's got to
There
be
you go.
like always like double experience, like always like
The
increased loot
boomer
chance drops.
servers,
No,
Yeah,
what was
exactly, the
it?
boomer
Grandma's
servers.
boy, call it the Gray Bush server.
the
Yes,
gray bush server.
perfect.
There you go.
Excellent. I'm gonna pull us in here and say we've got a winner for the gift card. We did have 3 entries, a little bit of a late one here. We added that too to make sure. Sam, you're getting a PlayStation card, buddy.
Woo!
I'm smiling, but you can't see
Poggies.
because I'm not on camera.
Do you actually
I'm
have
clapping.
a PlayStation though?
I do have a PlayStation. Yeah.
Nice.
Well, not a PlayStation 5. I have a PlayStation.
Nobody
No,
has
nobody
those.
Nobody
that.
has that.
Yeah,
Only
nobody
Chris.
has one.
Only
Yeah,
Chris
Chris
has.
is the only one on the planet who has a
Pretty much
PS5.
1 of 10.
I remember I was standing in a dark alleyway and a shady looking man in a trench coat walked up to me and he said, "I'll give you a PlayStation 5." And he handed me a gun and I said, "Nope, no way. I don't want in on this." You know, I drew the line at whatever it was he wanted me to do with that gun and that syringe in that dark alleyway. Yeah.
Did it involve Phil
No.
Spencer too?
I don't know. I didn't ask any
That's who was
questions.
in
I
the
ran.
trench coat.
It was Phil Spencer in the trench coat.
Yeah, I
There's a
think
He must
reason
have
we
been,
haven't
yeah.
seen one in the background of his office.
He must have been
Yeah.
barefoot too.
I think he wanted me to. I think he wanted me to take out Reggie.
Yeah. Sam just didn't notice the Battletoads logo that was peeping out of the open trench coat on his t-shirt.
Yeah. He was the original Battletoad.
All right, cool. So congratulations, Sam, on your prize.
We've
Well,
got
thank you.
We'll get that out to you.
one last thing to get rid of here. I think it's another Game Pass gift card.
To get rid
Again,
of.
Always gonna
yeah,
be
we got to. I mean, let's
Yeah,
just
we
get
gotta
rid of
hawk
it.
it.
Again, this works for PC or Xbox because you did get an Ultimate, right?
Yep. 3
So it
months
works.
of Ultimate.
It works
Yeah,
if you
or
got a computer to
phones,
play
or
on, and it
phones.
works if you've got a phone to do xCloud stuff. It works for it's so blurry. Put it at your face, right at your face. Yep, perfect.
There we go.
So another 3 months of that, hundreds of games again. Put God, I really want to use the Phil Spencer line, but I'm not going to use it. Just put feet in the chat. Feet.
That's a good-
F-E-E-T.
That's a good. Yeah, that's a good old OG campfire meme.
Do I disable
So-
chat after this?
So if you're looking for a Game Pass gift card, again, it works on PC and it works Xbox. Your phones can even run it if you have a smartphone. Feet.
Do you guys
in
remember
the
what
chat.
episode we made that reference?
No clue, man.
Ah.
We've had 100 episodes. I barely what we did.
Yeah.
Remember what we did
Yeah,
for
who
last
knows?
episode.
Yeet. I mean, that's what the feet end up doing, but yeah. So super cool. I want to thank Sam and Colin for joining us here. It's
Yeah,
been a
thank
fun
you, guys.
time. We're gonna probably wrap up the podcast with just us. So if you'd like to get going, we can
Yeah.
say our goodbyes.
Thanks for joining.
Yeah,
Or
it was
we
awesome.
can
Thanks for hanging out with
eat
us.
you out.
Yeah.
We will
Finally, I am released.
feet eat you out.
Yeah, thanks for the invite. Rich, let me know when you want to do that WoW Classic postmortem.
Yeah, will do, man.
Thank you so much for having me, you guys. I had a blast talking about
Yeah, it was great
Yeah,
having you,
yes,
man.
everything.
It's good having
Thanks,
you guys.
Colin and Sam. It's been a blast.
All right, later, boys.
Peace.
So we're gonna go just a little bit longer here. We'll get this last gift card. I want to make sure everybody gets a chance who wants it to put their names in and get that going.
So there's a virtual platform that you can do D&D on, right?
Yeah.
Roll 20 is a popular one. So
Yeah,
I'll just
We
say
should
that's
get Sam to orchestrate a campfire gaming session where he DMs what we play.
We could. That's the fun campfire gaming podcast one shot.
Yeah. let's
I
make
bet
it
he'd
a
do it
crossover
too.
episode.
Yep.
But we
that
do
is
my
the
original
crossover.
plan where we have to build a world around ourselves and our podcast.
Well, that's what I said.
it-
Bring him
it
into
honestly
Cold
has
State
to be-
Entertainment, you know?
Yeah.
Bring him under that umbrella.
Like it has
We'll
to
just
be
take over, hostile take over their podcast.
we have to do we'd have to do a campaign where we have to rescue Phil Spencer as he's like
Yes.
he's like our princess in the tower. We have to rescue him from like
And he's
Reggie
dressed up like
Fils-Aimé
Princess
or
Peach.
something.
All of
Oh,
our
Greg
all of our,
Bowser or something.
all our weapons and armor is Labo.
Yeah. We have we have Labo armor.
That would be
That'd
fun.
be fantastic.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Hey, it looks like Sam's down.
All right.
Nice. Todd Howard is the bad guy.
Yeah.
that actually fits. We gotta rope in EA in there somewhere too.
Yep.
And for the sake of Steam, we could have Gabe Newell being some divine influence who comes down and blesses us with some sort of
Stadia
abilities.
is the end boss.
It's got to be like EA. We keep paying them for information, but they only give us a little bit,
That'd
so we have
be
to
bad.
keep paying more.
No, we have to keep paying them to get a random box of information too.
But if you're talking about EA, we have a magic power because we can pull out our Game Pass spell,
Ooh,
and EA is
Ooh.
included with that. So you know you can.
Hey. But only certain EA
Yes,
information.
it's a selective
Or
spell.
information.
This sounds like the best D&D campaign I've ever played.
one last shout out. Put feet in the chat if you are interested in a Game Pass gift card. We're gonna roll that here shortly. So about 12:10, we'll run that one. Dudes, we did it. 100
100.
episodes.
100.
Good job.
Here's for
Thanks,
100
That is
more.
awesome.
Thanks
Yep.
to all our
Oh, yeah.
listeners, our viewers, our past hosts that are no longer with us. Not on the podcast, not like they passed away.
I was gonna
Wow.
say,
Jeez,
you
man.
told me they went to a farm upstate.
There's
I really-
a
I
couple-
What did I sign
I don't-
up
I
Just
just
for?
go digging up Matt's backyard.
I
I
was gonna
just
say
flushed them
there's
down
a
the toilet.
there's a
you know.
couple that I haven't heard from in a long time. So
Oh.
I don't know.
Thanks for all our guests today. So we
Yeah.
we don't keep going on a dark note.
Yes.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for listening. For sure. We do appreciate whether you listen to the live stream, whether you're listening to us on the podcast, or checking out our book clubs every time we do one here on video. Super cool to work and talk with all of you, play games with you, and things like that. So absolutely awesome that you are willing to stick us out for 100 episodes, or if you've only been here for 5 or 10.
Right.
We enjoy it.
And thank you to all the people who are in chat today too. We love the support. It's been, and all the listeners who have been, dedicated with us from either episode 100 or episode 1 to episode 99. Like, if you're just a new listener, thank you for your support. We really do appreciate it. And it means a lot to all of us that you would bother listening to our podcast.
Yeah, make sure to join our Discord so you can tell us what you want us to do more of.
Yes.
We
Or
would love your
less of.
feedback.
Or less of, yeah.
So if
Yep.
you've never heard before, the book club episodes, they take communities.
Yeah.
Journey was last month, and that was a community recommendation. And I
Yep.
think there's another one coming up down the pipeline at some point.
Yeah, we're waiting for
Correct.
it to release on a certain system before we tackle that one.
The
But
Switch
yeah.
Pro, right?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Switch Pro.
Mhm.
I'm glad we threw that
This is
in
how I
there. So now
disconnect right now. I'm done.
we're to
Full
that
circle.
point of the episode where we got to talk to Switch Pro. So
I'm disappointed. I should have gone out and gotten a Nintendo Switch gift card. I feel like it's been left out.
So there's still. So here's the deal. There is still, and this might say something about our audience, is mostly like PlayStation, PC, and Xbox. There is still at last I checked, so it might have gotten picked up. There is still a code on Twitter for a
Oh,
Nintendo
that's
gift card.
Right.
So if you go back and find it,
It's all yours.
It's like $10 or $20, and it's been sitting there forever. So if you like Nintendo, go back and get it. It might
and
be
it
there.
and it
Well, there
hasn't
you
been
go.
claimed.
Elaney?
No, I
Go get
checked it. I checked it maybe 6 days ago, and it was still there, like $20 or something like that.
So you've got a
Uh-oh.
good chance.
treasure hunt.
Yep.
There you
Treasure
go.
hunt. But again, there's other people listening. I think I said it in a previous episode too, so it might have been claimed. I just haven't gone back to look, so it could be gone.
Any idea when it was posted? Elaney is asking. She has
Oh,
That's the fun part.
Yep. Good luck.
Oh, that's
it's
fine.
tweets. It's gotta
that's a treasure hunt. Good luck.
a Switch.
I'm trying to
Was
think
it
of
this
when
year?
that was.
Was it this
I
year at
remember
least?
when you did it. I just can't recall.
Yeah,
exactly.
I think our Twitter is in the description of the video.
It is. Yeah.
But yeah, so it's down in the bottom here on the description. But
Mhm.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember
good
when
luck.
you shared it, but I don't remember how long ago that was.
oh, had to have been March or something last year. I don't know.
Oh, wow.
Last year? Oh,
Yeah.
geez.
So 2020 or early 2021,
That's crazy.
something like that.
I
But
was
it's
gonna
still
say, I was on when you did it. I remember
yeah,
that.
yeah.
So,
March of this year, maybe somewhere beyond that. I don't know. Take a
We
look.
will be-
Hopefully, it's there. Unless somebody snagged it up, then I'm sorry you did all that treasure hunting for nothing. Yeah. Anything else, dudes? You want to get into before we call it a day?
did you announce our?
I will.
Oh, okay.
Our feet winner.
Our feet winner,
Beat.
the winner of feet.
Should have given away a foot massage.
Ew.
That would've been-
Pedicure.
Oh, no pedicure. Those things have to be gunky and like.
Get your nails did.
Yeah. No. They've got to be like yellow and malformed and ready.
Yeah.
It makes it better. It makes it better.
Hips better
Um,
squish.
Yep.
He's speaking
Yep.
from experience.
Anyways, Anthony, you actually win our last gift card here. And we'll
Congratulations.
jump on the Discord, send us a
Who's-
message saying, "Hey, I got the Game Pass thing," and we'll send it your way.
Way to go, Anthony.
Cool.
You like feet.
He's all
Um,
about the feet.
If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please be sure to do so. We love more subscribers and we love making more content. This is the live stream stuff is relatively new to all of us, but we're having a blast with it, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
love that.
every book
Oh,
club
yeah.
now is live streamed, which is fun.
Mm-hmm.
More people on our Discord is great. You could play Hell Let Loose with us or Phasmophobia or
Or
anything else that you want to play.
Yeah.
Any
Yeah.
other game.
make recommendations. We're always open for something new to play.
We need
Absolutely.
We need more people to play Hell Let Loose because I think a few people are just getting fed up with it.
No comment.
I was gonna get on and play with you guys the other night, but man, I was so freaking tired. I was like, I don't want to get into an hour and a half long game.
I was hot, man. I was officer. I had my M1 carbine. I was picking krauts off from 350 meters. It was beautiful.
I'm looking forward to the new
whole
content.
the whole time though, Matt, you were like, I'm doing almost as good as Rich. So it's not, you're still not the top tier.
Oh, almost, man.
Until you get an 8.1 KD, you're not as good as me.
Damn.
Jeepers.
There was one match we were playing, and I was the machine gunner before I took over officer role, and I had it was like 10 kills and 3 deaths, but the match ended. I was like, at that rate, I would have been pretty darn close to Rich, but
Good.
yeah, just sat up in an alley and just watched those damn Yanks come around the corner and mowed them down. It was a good day. Yeah. I also
Sounds
like
Elaine
playing the
found the
Yeah.
tweet.
Oh,
See if
nice.
it worked.
Yeah, if it's used up, let us know and we'll send you another one just because you went to take the time to go hunt it down.
Oh, there you go.
We'll get you another gift card out there if it is eaten. If it's not, congratulations. Yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you for hanging out with us. Check out our Discord at check out our website at campfiregamingpodcast.com. Where you can jump on our Discord. There's an invite in the description of this video. And there is also on our website, you can get to our Discord from there. Check us out on Twitter at Camp Game Pod and Instagram, Campfire Gaming Podcast. Other than that, thanks for joining, and we'll see you next time around the campfire.
Oop, get a little closer.
And spear finger. You want to get a foot up there too, Matt? Don't do it. Don't do it.